FunBox. It's the FunBox Podcast. FunBox Podcast. FunBox Podcast. FunBox Podcast. FunBox Podcast. FunBox Podcast. It's the fun.
Love it, man.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the FunBox Podcast. Today with me, happy Groundhog's Day, by the way.
Y'all see the groundhog?
Yeah. There's going to be an early spring? Sure about that?
Ned Brierson?
Bing! Today with me, I have, and he is an illustrator, a designer, a children's book author, a dog lover, and the best dad ever. A fun guy that loves to laugh loud. And last but not least, he's the scissor kicking enthusiast. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you David Spencer. What's up, David? How you doing?
What's up, man? How you doing? It's awesome to be here.
I wrote that down.
Oh, man, look at you.
Prepared.
I know.
I meant to come up with more questions. I have like one question on the... I don't even have any questions written. I'll figure something out.
It's okay, man. We can just like jam. It's cool.
Yeah.
I think we proved that we're comfortable with each other in a room. We just talked for like a half an hour accidentally.
We're covering way too much.
Started talking about his mom. He was crying. It was real weird.
All right. Tweaking the board. I love podcasts because it is very loose.
Yeah.
It's always a loose format. And yeah, anybody that wants to make a podcast, get a mixer. Get a mixer, way better. You could just mix everything right away.
Yeah, and when people show up, they're like, "Wow, your setup's really cool." And you're like, "Yeah, wow, I'm really good at this."
Yeah, so awesome.
Yeah, it's like the more like knobs that I don't understand that are around, the cooler you look.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm sure that does something to my voice, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I was talking to Paul Franks about that, about playing live. You know, a lot of these people get these loop stations and these pedals and these beats things. I can't do that because if I was to mess up, nobody forgives you for that. It's like they'll like, what are you going to make all that stuff do, boy? Like, so it's more forgiving when I just have me and the guitar. It's like, okay, yeah.
Oh yeah. You ever see Reggie Watts do stuff?
Oh yes,
dude, that's next. Do you know how to do that?
Fuck shit stack guy.
Yeah, it's just.
Oh yeah, and he loops. And
he'd be like,
looping.
go into the garage, and it's like, go into the garage. And I'm like, and then he just keeps building on it. I'm like, in real time, like, I guess you just have that sense of rhythm, but like, I just don't understand music. Like, I'm like, that'd be cool to make a song, and then you sit in your head for a second, and you're like, duh.
Oh yeah, that's really good. Sometimes I think maybe what I should do when I make a song is do this and like record and screenshot everything. And record it and be like, all right, today we're going to make a song, ladies and gentlemen. And then it'll force me to like put something
honestly,
down.
that would be, I would listen to that, even though like obviously I don't make music, but like that's just cool to listen to for people. Like, you know, because I think the more people learn about things that they think is really interesting in the first place, of things they don't understand, it's like fun to hear people kind of create things. It's like, oh, that's how you make that. Like, even though like I know that sometimes I'll think about making like videos about how to make like characters and stuff, and I feel like it takes away the magic, but it doesn't. It kind of gets people excited about the way you draw.
Well, I think there's like the artist or the musician and anybody. It's like you could tap it. Like when they see these guys with the real deep memory, like the savants, things like that. Like maybe we could tap into the brain to figure out how to teach things to people real easy. And we could just be like, boom, now you know. Like, oh, it was so easy. It's just a barrier they had in their brain. Yeah. They couldn't play the guitar, or they couldn't do the drums or something, or draw.
I'll watch people do like painting and stuff online. It's like really cool to kind of watch them build, and it gives me an idea of like how to do things that like maybe I'm not great at, because the way I draw is like, you know, I draw children's art, so it's a lot of it's children's art, so it can kind of be flat sometimes. I tend to dig in and things like that. But, some people do like hyper realistic stuff and things like that. And to watch people do that stuff is really interesting, because I'm like, oh, that's how you do that. Or just like when there's a cool thing that happens when you paint, and everything looks very flat, and then you add like a quick highlight, and if you know exactly where to put it, you're like, it all of a sudden becomes like a boom. You know, you probably see it in like Bob Ross when he just like throws the thing on. It'll just be like, and then we'll put the highlight on,
and then immediately it looks like a photo of a mountain.
And you're like, got
that's
it. That's
water. Here's water, and okay, it's water.
And you're like, oh, got it. This guy's awesome.
Yeah, and then you just beat the living devil out of it.
Yeah. You just beat up your painting for half an hour and have a cool haircut, and that's all you need to be an artist.
Yeah. So today It's super special. I didn't tell anybody you were coming. I think maybe I told one person.
Ooh.
But I was like, I wanted to be a surprise because you know a lot of the same people I know.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're beloved. Everybody loves you, dude. So so I was like, dude, you were like, I'd like to do something like that. And I'm like, oh fuck yeah, because I feel weird asking people sometimes.
Yeah. Because you're like, I mean, like you gotta. You probably think in a way, you know, like, oh, I'm taking up the time, whatever. But like everybody loves talking and jamming, especially in this sense where you can you're having a conversation, but you also put it out there in the world and stuff like that. Yeah. And, it's just another avenue to kind of talking in this way is so cool because you're almost like locked in. I can't be on my phone. I mean, if I could, that'd be a dick move. But, you just can't do these other things. Loose. I kind of have to, like, I can hear you in my head. I'm talking to you. I'm looking you in the eye. So there's like this conversation. It's almost like I wish we could do this like regular. It's like, hey, come over, hang out. I'll put headphones on. We're not recording it, but we're going to talk about the facts of life for about half an hour.
Right.
But yeah, I think about this podcast. I always think it's really funny when I listen to it. It's like the most Vermilion podcast. Obviously, there's people from Vermilion.
Yeah.
But it was like the people you have. I'm like, oh my god, like you had Graham on, and I was like, Graham. I love Graham. It's so funny.
Vermilion people.
I know. It's just like the conversations you guys have are like they're so reminiscent, and like I can't handle those conversations anymore because I don't really know those kind of people anymore. It's just like talk about really weird stuff. Right. It's the best. But yeah, I think I really dig that about your podcast.
Yeah. I always have to kind of remind people that it's based in Vermilion, and and that's another thing. If I'm getting another guest on, I want them to understand. I mean, they're like, well, it's real local. I don't know any of these people. It's like, well, I kind of want to get people on my side, and then expand from there, and get people from different cities and things like that. And that's another thing. It's hard to get somebody on the show. Because they'll be like, oh, you only have 123 subscribers.
Yeah. But, I mean, like, the way the internet works, it's like, at some point, somebody will see your backlog, after, like, 300 episodes or whatever, and you're like, and they'll be like, oh, let's go back to the first episode. Even if it's, somebody random who they don't know.
Right.
They'll at least like the format, or see where you came from, where you're going, stuff like that. I don't know.
Yeah, and and there's, like, they'll do, like, the best, like, YouTube will put up the most popular videos, ones with the most views, and a lot of, and I'm like, well, I could have these guests on again, and I don't know how to do it. Who knows? I'm not trying to. I don't want to use people for views, but it's like,
no.
But if that's what people want to see,
yeah, if people want to see it, and plus, like, it's interesting to hear those people. You want to get in people's brains about certain things. Like, oh, I wonder what that person thinks about this. Depending on how the conversation goes, you can learn a lot about somebody doing that kind of stuff. So I mean, like,
oh yeah,
I don't know. You hang out with somebody and you find out like little tidbits, like you're into what? Right. Like I remember I was hanging out. We were at a campfire. We always go to this October Halloween thing for camping. By the way, I hate camping. I hate camping so much. I get dragged to it because my wife really likes camping, so that means I have to go.
Well, you're a father and a husband now, so it's like me. It's you got to bring the bottle of booze.
Well, that was the thing. Okay, so when me and my wife first started dating, she loved camping, and I was like, I love camping too, because I camped in Vermilion style, which is you go to somebody's backyard and you
set up a tent.
Yeah, and I used to have these speakers that I had an LTD station wagon with my favorite car, and I took actual like house speakers, like the long big box ones, and I'd pull them out of my car, wired them to the inside, and I would just blast music all night. And that's what we do. We pulled somebody's house. I'd open the trunk, pull the speaker box out. I start my car every like half hours to make sure the battery didn't die, and we just blast music, drink beers, and then I would sleep in my car in the night, and then I would go home. And I met my wife, and she's like, let's go camping. I was like, I love camping. That's awesome. And then she's like, all right, let's pack all this stuff. And I'm like, what are you doing? And she's like, no, you got to bring all this stuff. And I was like, you don't need it. We just need the speakers and the beer. And she's like, no, we need a tent. We need supplies for 3 days and all this stuff. And I'm like, and then I was just like, oh, we camp much different. And then, where's it going with this? Oh yeah. So I was talking to this guy. And we're bullshitting and we're just hanging out. And all of a sudden he's just like, I was like, oh, what's something you're into? And he's like, I don't know. Sometimes I'm into weird stuff like aliens and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, dude, we're about to be up till 3 a.m. So we started jamming for like ever. And then he was like, I'm going to let you go to bed. I had to go to work in the morning at like 6. The way it worked out, I still had to go to work while camping, which was awesome. Not really. And she was like, you have to go to bed, don't you? I was like, oh, I don't really sleep that much anyway. You're fine.
Yeah, I won't camp at Put in Bay anymore.
Really? Why not? I actually like camping at Put in Bay.
It's just it's too. There's too many fathers trying to connect with their kids in the tent right next to us. But it was there was some foreigner that told us to quiet down, like shut up, we're trying to sleep. It's like, oh yeah, I can't be up at 3 a.m.
Yeah, we usually go back to the campsite when we are wiped for the night. I mean, we were just like and like hit the ground. We actually we just went there this summer at camp. It was like our honeymoon. And we're just like, or not honeymoon. Sorry, we've been married forever. It was like our anniversary. Yeah, that's what it was. So, but we ended up bringing friends with us because we're like, we see each other all the time. We don't need to hang out together alone. So we're like, you guys want to come to our anniversary Put in Bay thing? They're like, yeah. So we went there and what was it? Because we did our bachelorette party at Put in Bay, so it was kind of like a hey, let's go back to the place. And next to us was this RV that was like literally was on hydraulics. It was like and I was like, what is this? And it had this guy's face on the side of it. He was like a realtor or something. I was like, how much money did that thing take to just get over here? And the guy came out, like it was the guy on the side of the van, which was like super weird. He's like, hey, if you guys need some of this wood, you can have it. And we're like, all right, cool. But we actually almost got arrested on our bachelorette party for like skinny dipping in the water.
Oh yeah.
And we lost all our stuff. Like I'm gonna swim out to the buoy, and I swam out to the buoy, and then I see the cop like come out of nowhere, and but like I'm far enough away they couldn't see me, so I just kind of waited in the water for a while. They ended up leaving, and I like went back to the campsite like naked, and like, grabbed my wife.
How long was the walk naked?
Oh, it was a while. And by the way, there's no lights in that campground.
So you didn't take your clothes off at the beach or at the water?
No, I did. And then I went into the water.
Yeah.
But then, so I walked back to our campsite and I grabbed the first shorts I could find, which was my wife's capris, and I put them on, and she was pissed at me because she was like, those are the only ones I had and they're wet now. But they ended up bringing my wife and all my friends back to the campsite, and the guy was like, hey, you remember me? And it ended up being somebody I knew from Vermilion, which is the only reason why we didn't all get arrested. He was like, I found your wallet too. I was like, cool.
Dude, nice.
Yeah, but yeah, we always get wrecked at Put in Bay. It's always a good time.
Yeah, I just took a bit. I was there too many times. I think that's what it is. I've been there so many times, and I had to play there.
Yeah, you probably
witnessed debauchery and the worst. No, it's just everybody turns into animals. But anyway, at any rate, mainly it's just the last incident I had there. I got basically attacked and beaten to a pulp. Oh man,
yeah. That'll do it for you, I guess.
Yeah. But I mean, the circumstances were there for like, I couldn't blame him, but at the same time, did you have to keep hitting me when I was knocked out, unconscious?
Yeah, well, the worst thing I've ever had to happen there is somebody took a shit on the dance floor at a level 2, number 2 level.
Oh,
2.
that's where you take it to the next level.
Yeah, that guy really amped it up. It was so funny because we're all sitting there, we all kind of noticed at the same time. It was like, does it smell like shit in here? And then you just see the crowd go like, there it is, like split, and then everybody like left. I mean, like everybody was like peace, and then the stairwell was like crowded. Everybody's like, get out of here. I mean, it was like there was a zombie outbreak in there. It was just like terrible.
Sounds like a Always Sunny episode or something.
Yeah, it was great though because the game was like, you guys are back. We're like, yeah, somebody shit on the dance floor. And then we always like declare, it's like, is this going to be a shit on the dance floor kind of night? You know? Oh, it was a good time. I mean, it was one of those nights where we pregame so hard we didn't need to drink for 2 bars, you know, because we're just like, we're good, man. We're just here. And because that was the good thing about the campground. Well, the one good thing is the campground is you just go one night. You don't have to go 2 nights. Or if you go 2 nights, you can burn the second night because it doesn't matter. It's just so much money, you know. You go out there, you spend like $5,000. You're like, fuck.
Oh yeah. I told people. Somebody was like, I want to go to Vegas. He's like, not even 21 yet. Some new guy I work with, and I'm like, have you been to Put in Bay? He's like, no, not yet. I was like, dude, you should try that first.
Yeah, soft baby steps. The thing about Vegas is you like forget what time it is.
Yeah.
Like, we stayed up a whole night once, accidentally, like not even like we're gonna do this. It was just kind of like, oh, it's 8 a.m.
Yeah, like, we were the way we did Vegas thing. We were there for 5 days, which is too long.
Oh yeah, you need 3 days.
3 days max.
Maximum.
Yeah, and just one hotel in the Strip, unless you want like Old Vegas and want to take an Uber out to the Strip.
Oh yeah,
but
that's fun though.
Thing is, I like Old Vegas. It's real fun. Yeah. Fremont Street.
Oh yeah, it's a good time.
That's more my style because it's the people, people with the same amount of money in their bank account as me.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was like we booked a different hotel for each night, and the thing we forgot is that you got to be out of there by like 11 a.m.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so they could clean it up and get it ready for the next people that are wanting to book it, right? Because it's just for a night, and you're out all night. So it's like we had nowhere to sleep. We had to go to the next hotel if we were drug out, or we slept for like 2 hours, and we're like, okay, we gotta get up and go to our next spot.
Oh, jeez. I mean, this is a funny. I don't know if I shouldn't tell the story. It's not my story to tell. Never mind.
It's whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. I heard they're switching the motto to whatever happens in Vegas only happens in Vegas.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, they're trying to change it up now for the newer generation.
Oh man, yeah, it's a really good time. But yeah, you don't need any more than 3 days, because there was a point where I woke up for the bachelor party we went to. We did 3 days, and I was never hungover. I was just like, what is happening?
It was weird.
I've
Me neither.
consumed my weight in alcohol, and I'm just like the next day, like 8 a.m. like glug 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 glug. Like,
it was that weird altitude or the air pressure. I don't know.
I don't know what it is. We even had like this. We did a metal pregame hour, which was like my favorite thing we've ever done, where we just pounded whiskey and then like we played like the
metal pregame,
dude, and we were just jumping on the
dude. I got to party with you, man.
It was so fun.
Skinny dipping. I mean, I don't want not to see you naked, but dude, it's fun. I've never skinny dipped before in my life. I never metal pregamed, which is pretty funny.
Dude, you got a metal pregame.
The first time I heard pregame was I was 21, and I was working. These people I work with were like, "Come on, we're going to the Whiskey Ranch, but come over here first because we're pregaming." And I'm like, I don't really get into sports.
Yeah,
I just hear like I was on speakerphone over there, and I just hear like laughing everywhere. Like, this guy, oh my god,
what an asshole. You're like, no.
But yeah, this is the FunBox podcast today.
Yeah.
You obviously everybody can see an easel or a blank piece of paper.
Yeah, paper.
It's paper.
You got it right. It's Bristol board. If you want to get specific,
yeah,
it's paper. It's smashed together trees. It's all paper.
Nice. Pulp. It's pulp.
It's pulped paper. Thank you so much.
Thin middle grade. But yeah, well, I don't know. Whatever comes to mind, he's gonna draw something, right?
Yeah, I'll draw you a little something. I was just kind of jamming. I didn't know when to kind of go into the drawing part of it, but obviously, like if you're just listening to this,
I don't know how long it's gonna take. That's why.
Yeah, you know what? I'll just kind of jam out some stuff. I'll probably just draw something simple. Like I'll draw. I have a. If you guys don't know this, listening to it, I'm actually a children's book illustrator. I did a book called The Epic Adventures of Huggy and Stick with Drew DeWalt. And Drew DeWalt did things like The Day the Crayons Quit, Rock, Paper, Scissors, and stuff like that. So he's like pretty. I think he did a Star Wars book and things like that. So I was blessed with this really cool opportunity to be like, "Hey, do you want to do his book, his next book?" And I was like, "Me?" So I mean, it was my first book. Like right out of the gate, I got to do with Penguin. So these two silly characters that I basically made up from like just his writing. I didn't have any kind of like. The cool thing about when you do children's books that people probably don't know is, as the illustrator, I was at least in my situation, I was totally able to go from start to finish. I had approval, everything for like the designs of the characters, which I thought I would be a little more like, no, we don't like that. We were thinking this. It was literally like, this is what I got, and I really like it. And they're like, we love it too. And I'm like, cool. And so it was so lax. Like you would just think like a bigger company like Penguin would be more like strong arming you, like you really need to get, give us like 60 designs by Monday. It was like literally like, cool, we like that a lot. Maybe change it to blue. It was just that was the biggest note I had, and I was like, okay, I like that. So, and then the people I worked with were really cool. But yeah, I figured I'd draw Huggy and Stick, because they're fun characters to draw, and I could kind of draw them with my eyes closed because I, kind of always draw them inside of books and stuff like that. So yeah, if you guys ever like pick up a copy of like Epic Adventures of Huggy and Stick and you live in like the Cleveland area, I would be more than welcome to like sign your book or whatever, because it's like still like ultra fun for me. I don't think it would ever get unfun. Like it's just be, like people being like, oh, I love this book, or just hearing people read it, hearing little kids like respond to it. I know what there's this page in there in one of the books. It's like they go on this adventure and he falls out of a kangaroo, and the stick ends up catching him on his butt. So Stick's actually like up his butt accidentally, and he's like, there's a stick up my butt, I hate my life. And it's like the kid's like favorite. It's funny because it's like one of those dividing pages where parents are either like, what is happening?
What is happening?
Or like, this is the reason why I picked this book up. This page is hilarious, because kids like lose their mind.
Well, it's too like Toy Story. I watched Toy Story 3 for the first time.
Oh my god, that's so magical.
Oh man,
so magical.
I watched it and I'm like, this is for everybody. of all ages.
Oh,
It
yeah.
like transcends like generations. I'm like, you almost have to do that. Like, what are you gonna do? Watch? You can't relate to Barney or
I know. It's
things like that.
Everybody had like a toy at some point that they like coveted or they took everywhere, or like we all had that thought of like, what if these guys are alive when I'm not here? And that scene where they're in the trash compactor,
Yeah.
I actually thought they were gonna die. Like I lost all ability to remember that like there's no way they would end a children's franchise with the main characters getting burned up.
What got me is not the fact that I thought they were going to die because I knew something would happen, but what the attitude of the toys were was mortality. Being knowing that it was time to go. It was their
just
end.
holding hands and be like, let's just do
like
this,
human
man.
beings,
And I'm just like, I'm getting a little choked up thinking about that.
Yeah.
It's such a powerful scene. They all just kind of like look at each other, grab hands, and they're like, let's do this, man.
Yeah.
This is how it ends. And I'm
She's like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And they just look at each other like, this is what we're doing.
I know, and I was just like, oh my god, I love this movie so much.
Yeah, it was real powerful.
Yeah, and then at the very end when they kind of just go like, good, see you part. I haven't even seen the fourth one, but like I was kind of upset they made a fourth one because it ended just like I didn't even see it, the fourth one, but it might be good.
Yeah.
Oh, what's that?
Turning off this for harness. There we go.
Oh, sorry. You can probably hear in the background. I don't know.
There we go.
All right, yeah, but at the end when they're just kind of like, see you later, and I was just like, oh, that's such a perfect ending of this like trilogy of just that we've pretty much grown up with. Like, we were introduced to computer animation, like with Toy Story, like those kinds of movies. Like before that, it was just everything was animated.
Really good animation.
Hand.
You know how like rendering and stuff goes, and it still takes a long time for some people to upload it. Render it to like a certain file, right?
Yeah.
And back then, I couldn't imagine how long it was taking to do that.
Just days. I mean, like even with the because I just know how that you just kind of process it, and it just has like I've tried to do video and just with a brand new computer ready to go, and it still took forever just to like and I mean, video it's this monster of gigabytes just taking it from you.
Right.
Okay, this is gonna go forever. So,
I was eventually going to get to definitely your books.
I didn't mean to jump the gun.
No, that's cool. That's cool. I definitely know about those books. Those are it's very, very, very like admirable. It's very it's interesting. You're the only person I know that has something like that going on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the thing about it. It's super cool. Move this a little closer so I don't mess up the video. But it's really cool because it's really opened up a lot of like random doors for me that I didn't really expect. The biggest thing that I've been able to do with the whole thing is I'm able to like talk to kids. Like I get to go to schools and like do a bunch of really cool stuff. And it is like, when you find out that thing that really works for you really well, talking to kids and drawing in front of them is like by far been the most like eye-opening thing of like, oh, this is what I should be doing. Because like I go in there, I get to be me, which is me just like screaming to children, just like, do you guys want to see pictures of the Avengers? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, you want to see a picture of this? And they're just like, yeah. And then I do this thing where I basically like I'll take two animals, I'll be like, give me two animals. They're like a kangaroo and a llama, and I'm like, got it. And I'll smash them together and I'll make like a llama kangaroo.
That's awesome.
And they're just like, that's so funny. And then I make like monsters with them, like made out of I'll bring two kids up to like work with me, and I'll be like, all right, we're doing a monster. And I was like, what are their arms made of? And they're like, spaghetti. And then they're like, what are their feet? They're like tank wheels. And like, so I get to do that in real time with them and draw it out. And they just like lose their mind.
Dude, I would have lost my mind. Dude, I was all about the art. I stopped drawing and like after high school, I kind of just dropped off.
I did the same thing. When I was in high school, I used to draw like all the time. And then I think around like 15 or 16, you get friends and stuff. You finally like get out of your little box. And then, I stopped drawing altogether. I would draw like here and there just to kind of fill time. But like literally when I was a kid, my teacher would be like, hey, could you stop drawing all of your homework? Like I can't grade your homowork. There's no room to write any of the comments. And I'm like, oh, sorry. So so that was my like entire life. And then what did I do? I had friends and stuff, and I was like, oh, this is what I'm doing now. And then I just totally dropped off. And I even went to art school, but even before that, I was just like, I don't know, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? Like, I'm not super smart, so I'm not going to, like, do, like, engineering. I'm not going to, like, what is my career path? Like, I had no career path, and there wasn't, like, any kind of, like, direction. I mean, the thing about, like, where we come from is, like, there's really no, like, all my friends are painters, like, but not like painters, like, here's this awesome Renaissance piece. It's like, no, you want your wall blue, it's green now, that kind of painting. So, like, I just didn't know. I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not good at painting. Like, I'm not good at, like, manual labor or anything like that. And I was like, I guess I can draw. So I just kind of, like, just went full fledged on that. And then I realized like once I got to school that the one thing I did have going for me was work ethic, and like above everything, I would even if I wasn't the best, I was the hardest working. So I would just nail that home and just do that as much as possible.
That was the Columbus of Art and Design.
Columbus College of Art and Design, man. It was.
How long was that for you?
It was a 4-year school, man.
4 years.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah.
Usually I hear that and it's like a 2-year thing.
Yeah, usually. I mean, even was it the one in Pennsylvania that I was thinking about?
Pittsburgh Art Institute.
Yeah, I was gonna go there, but then I don't remember why I didn't go there. But it was only 2 years. But I think there's something about college. People always say, like, oh, it's a waste of money, whatever. But like, it really gives you time to like realize who you are and who you're gonna be. Mm-hmm. I needed those 4 years because I was kind of a slow learner when it came to stuff like that. And so the more time I was given to kind of be like, oh, you know what, Dave, like. Maybe like even though I wasn't doing my best work like here and there, I finally figured it out like over time. And then like right now, I like even illustration. Like I wasn't something I went for. I went for graphic design. So I was just like I don't know what to do with illustration, so I'll just go for graphic design. And then so I started doing that, and I do still do that. I do a lot of that, but illustration came in again like just 6 years ago. I started drawing again because I had got a job that was really creative and it fed my other creativity. And I was just like, oh, I should start drawing again. And then I started drawing these like kids books and stuff. And then when I had my son was when I was like, oh, I should do a children's book about my son. And I think a lot of people have that idea, but they don't have the ability to kind of do the whole thing. Yeah. So I wrote this book for him and I drew this book for him. And then I tried to sell it off, and it's super hard. I
couldn't imagine like trying to pitch things like that to get like I don't know publishing or anything.
It's ultra hard. I mean, I had like 100 rejections. I mean, like literally, you just get a pile of rejections and go like, we're not going to do this.
I hear that a lot with movies. They'll be like, yeah, this movie was written 15 years ago before we could even get it.
Actually, my agent that I have, he was the first. The thing about what I do is. You don't know anything about it going in. You start and you go like, oh, I wonder if I should is my agent or I should get an agent. How do I get an agent? I don't even know how to start.
An agent.
Yeah,
okay.
So I literally Googled children's book
How
agents.
to get
and then so I did that, and then there was this guy that came up, and I was like, well, I kind of want to work with a girl because I vibe really well with girls. Like they just kind of like I grew up with women, so I was like, oh, I should like just like easier to talk to. They usually just like you probably know this with women. They just like they're always kind of like, hey, like what's going on? And you're like, nothing. Guys are kind of like, I don't know. You see the game last night?
Yeah.
You see that? And I'm like, okay, cool. So like I was like, oh, I'll see if I can find it. But I just got rejected like across the board. And then I was like, oh, you know what? I'll try that guy that I saw the first time. And he was like, hey, he's like, maybe not this book, but I actually really, really like your art. Are you interested in being an illustrator for other people? And I was like, yeah. And then, he, long story short, he gave me this book deal. It took a little time, but I mean, it's insane the way you kind of just, I'm sure it's luck. I'm sure it was basically just like somebody pointed a finger, and I was like, I like this guy. He's probably cheap.
Yeah.
But
that's what I do with doctors.
Yeah.
Actually, I prefer the doctor with the longest name I can't pronounce. He's probably really good.
Yeah. It looks like the Terminator.
Yeah.
Dr. Flogging Dog.
I want a guy that I can't see past that accent. So when it's an American, it's like if he's like, if I have a doctor that's like, I need you to take all your clothes off except your underwear. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Like,
sure.
It's not weird if you.
But if it's an American, like American dad sounding dude, I need you to take all your clothes off except your underwear.
Yeah, like, whatever, Dad.
What are you gonna do to me?
Yeah, like, is this okay? I need an adult.
Like I had a Dr. Sandoval growing up. He was Indian, so it was like so comfortable. I was so comfortable around him because it was just that accent. I was like, yeah, I like it. I could eat. You want to see my pee-pee? Okay, that's fine. Fine and dandy with me. Oh yeah, after this episode, I'm supposed to hit a button on YouTube, whether or not it's for children or not. And I'm like, I got a guy that makes children videos, and so maybe I should watch my mouth. But anyway, it's because I keep having to put no, because the content,
Yeah, because you never know. I mean, I would say. Who knows? I mean, who knows where this conversation is going to go? I mean, there's some cursing, but it's probably okay.
Well, I usually typically the whole show in general isn't aimed for kids, obviously.
Yeah.
When it is, usually that's what you're like. I'm not. Yeah, I was talking. I'm not going to talk to my kids about circumcised penises. Like just now, I just made it not able to be. or whatnot, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
I finally got cut, man. We were hippies. My mom was a hippie, and she just didn't like it.
Yeah, yeah.
But I kind of wanted to just fit in with the rest of everybody, so I got finally. My dad finally wanted to get circumcised at he was 28.
Really?
He just wanted to do it. I'm like, geez. He said he like back in the old days, like locker room shit. You were like everybody. I mean, it probably still is that way.
Yeah.
Like just undressing in front of everybody, but he was made fun of because his wiener was all weird and he was overweight. And they said that he looked like he got a spear shoved in the back of his ass and it started poking out the front. So I can only imagine this tiny pointy thing like poking out in the front.
Oh man, it's rough. It's rough growing up, man.
Oh man, absolutely.
It's so weird. You're just like, you don't know where you're at. You don't know what you're doing. I can't help but project on my kids like how they're feeling at like certain times. I'm like, you know, like once they get into going to college or not college, like high school, just like how that jam is. It's just a constant check in of like, am I doing this right?
Dude, talk about having anxiety in like 7th, 8th, 9th grade. Jeez,
just like boom, 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 boom.
In 6th grade, I had it so bad I would throw up before school every day.
I can imagine, man.
It sucked. When I moved, I converted from Lorraine to Vermilion. In Lorraine, everybody's poor. Everybody has lunch tickets. Everybody's like kind of like on the same page, you know. And there's no really cliques, you know, because it's so diverse, you know.
Oh yeah.
And I went to Vermilion, nothing but white people, and it's all clicky too, and they hate each other, and everybody's hating on each other. I'm like, what the hell? I'm not used to this.
Yeah.
So I naturally vibe with the nerdy group, I guess, and like the trailer park people.
Yeah. I mean, I was pretty much with the freaks and geeks.
Freaks and geeks,
specifically the freaks. You know, we was part of that clique of just like we like Marilyn Manson and Korn and stuff like that. You know, black t-shirts, whatever. And then it's funny because like I always think about like who I am like at this current moment, or even when I was a kid, just going, hey, how you guys doing? Like I was just so positive all the time, but like really like this really dark music. This song's about him being molested. you know, it's just like.
Did you hear "Faggot" by Korn?
Yeah, and you're just like, this song is awesome. And I mean, it's not like a matter of being like just faking it. It's just what you're into. You know, like I said, Metal Hour in Vegas, like it's like in you. You're just kind of like. Sometimes you put these like labels on people, but like you really do. You just go like, oh, this person's this. They look like this.
He's
so
got a sweater vest.
Yeah, like they obviously don't like this kind of music.
Yeah.
Like who is it? My wife's little brother. He's not really little. He's a fucking monster, but he's like stacked. But like he's really into metal, and you never know it. Like so he's just blonde hair, tall, good looking, stuff like that. So but he just loves metal, and there's just no type. There's no type for that kind of stuff. You're just like into what
Especially
you're into.
Nowadays, since everybody has access to so much different stuff.
Oh yeah.
You could literally. I worked with this girl at Quaker Stick and Lube. She was the nicest, soft-spoken, and she dated the lead singer of Korn for a little bit. I mean, not Korn, sorry. Mushroom Head. I had Korn on my mind.
I was like, what?
But it was J-Man from Korn. I mean, I said it again, from Mushroom Head.
Yeah, so Korn, right?
Anyway, let's.
Welcome to NPR. This is Dave Spencer.
David Spencer. Hi, thank you for coming on the show. You're the class of 99.
99, man. I mean,
American Pie generation.
It was such a good time. The thing that I love about Vermilion, I'm having a hard time drawing and like talking because like
it's
these really fun topics, and I'm like, and I get I have to talk with my full hands.
Right. Yeah.
The thing that I love about Vermilion, and I've always loved it, is I went to Rudy's one day, the bar here, and we go into the bar, and it's just, you see the sea of people you haven't seen in forever, and you're just like, and they're all really nice, and you're just like, hi, how you doing? And then you go into the back room, and sometimes people are smoking pot, and you're like, hey, like, okay, Vermilion, what's going on? And my favorite Vermilion memory was at Old Prague, and we're hanging out, and I never was really into Grateful Dead. Like it just wasn't. It never vibed with me or whatever.
Me neither.
I had tons of friends who were into it, and I was just like,
too.
okay, like I was like, cool. And I didn't hate him or anything. It just didn't hit me on the wavelength that maybe it should have. And so I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, this guy was on acoustic guitar, and he's playing. The other dude had bongos, and they started playing a Grateful Dead song. And the vibe there, I mean, it's different now, but I think back then it was just in the one room, and they started playing this Grateful Dead song. everybody started singing along, and it was the nicest moment I've ever seen. Because like they have the Christmas lights in there, the vibe was cool, and I was just like, I love this town so much. And you gotta like the bar I go to is like in Illyria, and they're just kind of like, yeah, cool. Like this song's, it's just the vibe wasn't there. It just felt so like collective. Everybody was just kind of like whatever the song was. I couldn't even tell you, but it was. I love it so much.
Right.
But I don't know. It's fun. What's your favorite dinosaur, man?
My favorite dinosaur. Ooh, man. It's got to be a. I really like the ones that eat plants. Herbivores?
The herbivores? Yeah, they're the nicest ones.
The nicest ones. They're not going to run. They might attack me if I'm like around there like babies or something.
Yeah, but I think for the most part, they'd probably like your guitar. They'd be like,
yeah, like,
this is
okay.
really nice. I like this vibe. It's really good
Munching
for the
around.
plants.
I don't know. The opening scene of Jurassic Park where they finally see the dinosaur.
Yeah.
I like the Brachiosaurus.
Brachiosaurus is pretty good. He's, you could probably ride him.
Yeah.
You wouldn't even notice really because he's so big.
He's so big, you climb up his neck.
Yeah.
Well, that'd be crazy, but
Yeah, it's a good dinosaur. It's the wrong answer, but it's a good dinosaur. The best dinosaur is the Ankylosaurus. Do you know which one that is?
No.
So it's the one that looks like a turtle, sort of, and it has like the big armored shell with
Oh, okay.
spikes on the
Yeah.
side. It's got spikes in its face, and it's got the big wompy tail. Dude,
Right.
it's dope. It's like the coolest. It's the
Dude.
coolest dinosaur.
there's people that don't believe in dinosaurs, that they didn't exist.
That level of like, I need a thing in my life
Yeah.
is absurd.
It's wild because, I mean, it's like,
I've heard the argument for it, and I'm just like, I get where you're coming from.
I
but
don't
it's
understand
dumb.
the argument. That's too much work.
But why would you want to not believe in dinosaurs?
Yeah.
It's just like, why would you not want this awesome thing that like you literally can't touch anymore to be gone, like out of your life? Because
Yeah.
it's the coolest part. Like when I think about it every once in a while, I go like, there used to be dinosaurs here. Like, how cool is that? And why would
Right.
you go like, that was fake?
You know how the sun, the planet essentially has to be getting bigger, right?
Mm-hmm.
You would think because the sun is supplying energy and everything's growth.
Yeah,
is
and the
growing.
matter kinda comes in.
Matter comes in and everything compacts. We're drilling for things that
Yeah.
used to be a swampland and
Yeah.
now it's coal,
Yeah.
So it's like layers. So
Yeah.
is it possible, and the oxygen level was different back then, that big creatures existed?
Yeah.
So maybe do you think, I don't know anything about that part of science,
Yeah.
but do you think that why animals were able to get so big, but not only the oxygen level, but the size of the earth, maybe? It wasn't their gravity wasn't that intense?
Well, it might be actually. That's a good point. There's a thing about goldfish. If you take a regular goldfish that's in your tank and you put them as a baby into the pond, they'll get huge. But they only kind of maximize the space that they're available to.
Yeah.
So since there's no predator of a dinosaur that's outside of dinosaurs, they were probably capable of. I mean, everything was bigger back then.
Wasps, like insects.
Yeah, everything was bigger, so they had no, like, right now everything's kind of subdued because they're all kind of dealing with us. So there's probably that. I mean, I don't really know I also don't know the science. I'm just doing skeptical science stuff right now.
I've seen some cool documentaries.
Yeah, I mean, me
know.
too. And it's just like, so I just think that there's probably a sense of like, we can only get this big because we can only, like, if we get any bigger, we're invasive. So they almost, like, it's almost like nature knows that if they get any bigger, they become like a predator and then they get dwindled down. Who knows? But, yeah, I don't know. There's a good argument for like, why they were so big probably out there, but I couldn't tell you what it is. But it's probably, I would assume it just has a lot to do with who they're capable of getting.
Right. Well, check this out. I just found out lobsters and like crabs, they don't know how big they can get or how old they can get. They've never seen one like die of old age. Like they don't.
No.
Because they've caught, like in Put in Bay, the boardwalk or whatever.
Oh yeah.
You could get amazing lobster bisque there. Mm-hmm. And on the wall, they have something they caught in the 1700s. And then they I don't know, what do you call it when you take a crustacean, whatever creature, and then you preserve it? But it's literally like 3-4 feet long or something like that and big.
It's terrifying.
Yeah, it's terrifying. So I'm thinking maybe they get way bigger. They could get maybe on the bottom of the ocean. There's like these crazy dinosaur-sized lobsters or something.
I can probably guarantee that there's giant ones at the bottom of the ocean because we've barely gone there.
Yeah,
like
we
the
can't
first person
get
to
it.
go there was I think what's his name from who made Titanic?
Yeah.
He might have been the first one.
Cameron or Diaz or whatever.
Yeah, definitely Cameron Diaz. They're like, we really liked
James Cameron.
we really liked you in The Mask. Could you go to the bottom of the ocean?
She was the hottest in the mask, but hands down.
Yeah, I know for sure. I think she was all of our crushes back then.
Oh my goodness!
But what was it? Do you ever hear in Australia? Everything in Australia is a nightmare. But like as far as animals,
everything wants to kill you in Australia.
Yeah, I know. Well, you ever seen their crabs?
No.
They have this type of lobster. A group of them is called a nightmare.
Really?
They look like giant spiders.
Is it really called a nightmare?
They're called a nightmare.
Like a murder of crows.
Yeah, a murder of crows, a nightmare of whatever these things are called. They're like I want to say they're just like a lobster, but it's like something lobster. But they're the scariest. I was like looking through a gallery of them. I had to turn it off. I was like, this is the scariest because I don't like spiders, but I definitely don't like. I started like imagining if one like came in the room, and I was just like, I can't like right now.
Yeah.
Like you see like videos of people like going to the bathroom in Australia, and they'll like get off the toilet, and then they'll like video it, and they'll be like a tarantula drops down because they're looking for water, you know, because it's so dry there. That's what it is. But like I'm just like I'm never going to Australia. I don't care how much I want to pet a koala. I mean, obviously not right now because the saddest thing ever happened to that whole habitat. But,
I know. I heard a lot about the koalas are so strong, and they look so cuddly. And then when you hold one, you're like, wow, this is a solid piece of muscle, like just grabbing onto me, and it could like punch me, and it would hurt really bad.
Yeah. I heard a thing about sloths because I actually
and they're strong too. Yeah,
well, you know, you get those thoughts of like, I wonder if I can get a sloth because they're so cute.
Yeah, they are.
And so I was just like, I wonder what I could do. And then I found out like they're well, first off, they're really stinky. So like, if you ever met somebody has like a ferret. And you go in their you go in their house and you're like, why? Oh, this is the worst.
Yeah. And they don't know it. They're just like, yeah, welcome.
You're like, thanks for coming. You're like, I can't wait to leave.
Like, yeah, okay, cool.
Be like, can we hang out outside? I don't know. I just feel like being outside.
Do you want cake? I don't want cake here.
Yeah, I don't want anything from this house. So like they smell really bad. Apparently, you got to wash them like all the time or like clean out their area. But they need like but apparently they're what is it? Their claws have like bacteria in them, so they scratch you. It's like really bad for you, like because all the bacteria that's in there. They're basically just like gutting you with with just viruses and stuff. But then they just need like constant upkeep. And I was like, oh, that's such a bummer. I want a sloth so bad, especially after I saw a picture of a baby one. And I was just like, I didn't even factor
they're adorable.
In baby sloths. Yeah. So
I spied on your Facebook.
Oh, that's cool.
Got some information.
Ooh, some 411. How far
you worked at Classic Imports? I don't know what that is.
Classic Imports. Oh my gosh, that was so. That was an Indian-run company. They were super fun to work for because it was for Spencer's Gifts. So it was almost like it couldn't have been the more right up my alley. On top of the fact that my name is Spencer, but like we did. Go. But that was the obvious one. But like really, it came down to like I made the glassware for like bar stuff, and I had like all the ideas. Like I was just like, what if there was a glass that like had a shot like built into it, so like when you pushed a button, it shot the shot through the thing. Like I would have those ideas like all the time for the glassware, like all this weird. I was designed for it. It was just, but the place was like, we need 80 designs by Monday, and it's Friday at 4:30, and I'm just like, oh, and it was just doing that for like 6 years. I was just like, I got nothing left in the tank, man. You know, you just kind of like you run dry, and you know, and there was a lot of random drama at the end there too. So, but it honestly, like I did licensing there, which I got to get introduced to, which was so anytime, for anybody who doesn't know what licensing is, basically like Sonic the Hedgehog is a license, Ghostbusters is a license, things like that. So you basically take their graphics and you put them on anything from a t-shirt to you know, whatever you have the license to do that for. So we had a lot of glassware that we did stuff for. So I specifically had Pink Floyd, Ghostbusters, what else did I have? I forget. It's been so long. But just stuff like that. So,
when you get one license, does it encompass all that artwork?
Yeah. So they give you like some artwork, and then sometimes, depending on the license,
or they just have certain things you pick from that license.
It depends. Like so things like DC Comics, like we had DC Comics, and they had such a big treasure trove of stuff. So you basically just grab the art, put it on a thing, you're done. For things like Pac-Man, they had such little amount of kind of art, you could just basically like you make stuff up. It really depended on the actual license itself, based off of what you want to do. Plus, if you had ideas, you can kind of like at least try them out. And we got, depending on the trend and stuff, you kind of work on that. But it was really cool because I got to go to Vegas and again, finding out things that I was really good at. I was really good at talking to licensors, which I didn't know. Just that you assume that like you go to these like head honchos, like you go to Adventure Time and you talk to the people from Adventure Time. And I was really good at just being like, hey, like I just being real chill in the meeting and being like, hey, whatever, and then not getting like bogged down by who I'm talking to at any time. and talking to wrestlers and stuff like that, and just being like, "Oh, this is cool." But like, I was really good at like kind of selling, or at least making it seem like we knew what we were doing.
Right.
So it was really fun to kind of learn that little skill that I had. But it was a ton of fun, just kind of jamming with that. But it was kind of a bummer that I was just like, I gotta get out of here. It was too much.
Right.
So I mean, which was actually, you never knew it, but it was like a blessing that you finally figured out that I was like, maybe I'll move on because
move on to Mobius Gray.
Oh yeah, Mobius Gray. Yeah, actually, I did design in Cleveland for a little bit. The thing about designing is like I like it. It's what I do for a living, sort of, but I get a little bored by it because it's so client based. You do like, I want a logo, and it's so like there, like you kind of like front to back, like it's got to be theirs. Like I really can't put my total spin on it. The cool thing about when I do commissions and stuff for people, I do their like family photos, but like usually they're really cool.
Have you ever created something that, like, say like you're a ghostwriter and you say you write something and you're like, wow, that's good, and nobody will know that it's yours because that it's given to that person. Have you ever done any artwork like that you can't that you never got credit for? That you were like, this is awesome. I guess this is my idea, and nobody will ever know, but I did get my paycheck.
Yeah. No, I mean, honestly, like the cool thing about it, I guess the things that I do is people want me to put my name on it. Stuff that's awesome. Stuff that I don't even like think that, because like I did a 6 glass set for a podcast called Astonishing Legends, and they do a lot of like paranormal stuff and things like that. And I did a 6 glass set for them. So I did one for Skinwalker Ranch, Yeti, just like their main episodes, like Krampus and things like that. And I just did the art, and they're like, "Oh, put your name on it." And I was like, "Oh, cool, whatever." Like I didn't expect to do that, but because it's so specific to the show. But I've almost become like an integral part to the show for creating art. I've done like a lot of their Facebook stuff. It started with me just like putting art up on their like Facebook page and being like, hey, I did some like fan art of like the 2 guys from the show with like a bunch of like inner stuff that only people who know the show would understand. And by the end of the day that day, I was talking to one of the hosts, and I was just like, "This is awesome," That's awesome. I mean, it was such a good podcast, but it is such a good podcast. But yeah, I just kind of became part of that, but I've been very lucky if people just like they want me to be part of that, because cool. I mean, I have a little bit of a name recognition as much as I have, that people kind of want to see like the thing that I do, and they want to kind of be like, "Oh, and this was done by this guy," right. And even more so now that I'm like a children's book artist, that they can. You
got a catchy name too. You definitely have a name that David Spencer sounds like a guy that's. It already sounds like a character. It sounds like a comic character. It's David Spencer.
Oh yeah, I guess I never really think about. You have your own name, so you probably don't even think about Rob Webb at all. Yeah. You're just kind of like Rob Webb. It's just my name forever. My name, and yeah, I don't think about my name like that, like in any way. But yeah, I guess it could be
Spencer.
Yeah, Spencer for hire. I mean, that was my entire life. Spencer for hire. I was like, I get it.
That's good. You worked at Red Robin.
Red Robin for probably way too long.
Yeah, how long?
Probably like 10 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, it was like my first real.
Were you a server?
I was a server for like a really long time. I worked there. Actually, that's my. I met my wife at the Red Robin in Elyria, which isn't even there anymore.
Yeah.
So actually, I took her for one of our anniversaries. I took her to the parking lot that used to be the Red Robin. Yeah. And like I stood, it was like it's a key bank now, and I was like, "Where are we at right now?" And she's like, "At the old Red Robin." I was like, "Isn't this nice?" And she's like, "This is dumb." Yeah. I was like, "This is nice, right?"
Oh my god!
But, I mean, like it was fun.
There's a lot of girls out there that just love and eat that up, man.
My wife is a very specific kind. She's like, "This is stupid. We're not doing this," which is why I like her, because she's the kind of girl, like she's one of the guys, in a way, which I dig.
Dude, Maggie has a more sick sense of humor than I do. I think that's where I'm getting it from, because she's so like ruthless, like with her humor, and I'm like, what? Sometimes she'll hit on these notes that I'm not even thinking of when somebody says something, and then she'll be like, that's what Disha's mentality. She's like digs like she's just a gutter brain.
Yeah, dude, I love it though. Honestly, like I think that's what's kept us together like a lot, because if she was just kind of like a stick in the mud, or like or
just was like, oh yeah, I loved everything you did, it's like, okay,
I know. Well, that is the one thing I really really like about her, that is like also it sucks because you just want her to like everything, but like she will tell you if she doesn't like something.
Yeah.
And you need a person like that in your life to be like if I mean, I don't know if Maggie does this, but let's say you're doing the podcast and she'd be like, "No, it wasn't really a good one you did this year." I remember I listened to an episode where she said she started writing notes out for you. She was like, "You don't like, you need to be more organized." And I was like, you need that. You need people to kind of like wrangle you in to kind of understand it. And like if she says she likes something, it like means more, because she's like, absolutely. "I really like that one." And I'm like, all right. Hell like I did the family portrait for her once, and I was like, I did the family portrait, and she was like, finally, because I do them like all the time, and I've never done one of ours. And then she was like, I gave it for like a smaller size, and she was like, oh, can I get like the bigger size? And I was like, oh, cool, you like it enough to get the bigger size, So it really does, like, it means something to like have these people in your life that can kind of, not your no men, but your people to kind of quality check your life.
Yeah.
Because I remember I was doing, I got a new iPad Pro, and I'm doing my line art and stuff like that, and it wasn't as like sketchy as I normally do, and because the way it kind of like reacts to you, it makes a more smooth line. And my wife was like, you need to like throttle this back a little bit because you're losing a lot of your character in your line art. And I was like, oh, and then I wasn't even thinking about it because you draw this line that's kind of squiggly, and if you hold it, it straightens it out for you. It it smooths it for you.
Yeah.
And so you're losing everything that kind of made your art yours.
Yeah.
And I remember I even did like a character design thing like for this guy, but I tightened it up like real good because like I thought he would want it real tight. And he was like, he's like, this seems different than your other art. And I was like, oh, I did it on my iPad Pro. And he's like, yeah, don't do that. And I'm like, okay, cool.
Don't do that.
Yeah, so I did it by hand, and he was like, these are awesome. These are exactly what I wanted. So that's the other thing that sucks about, or it's one thing that sucks about the way, like I do art, it's so specific and like it has like a character to it that like, and the longer you do it, the more you get in your head about it. It's like when you first start, you're just throwing stuff at the wall, so you don't know where you're going with it.
Yeah.
And then like if you like veer to you don't know where you're veering at all. You're just kind of like, this is how I draw. Like I'll draw the way I draw. And people really like it and they'll respond to it. And then if you start doing something different, and you don't know you're doing it different, you're just doing it. And like you won't know that you're doing something different than you've always done. You're just kind of like, oh no, I used to draw with pencil. Now I do ink art or whatever.
Right.
And then you get in your head like, am I doing the wrong thing? Is everyone gonna hate my art now because I'm doing it differently? And it's the biggest thing about being creative is that you're always just kind of like trying to figure out where you're at because you always just end up where you end up. You write a song the way you're going to write a song. It's gonna, it doesn't matter at the end of the day. So if you write a song that's like maybe not in your wheelhouse, but you don't know it because you're just like, oh, I was really feeling this song about balloons today, man. Yeah. And they're like, you don't write songs about balloons, man. Be like, well, yeah, but like today I do. Like, yeah, but like that's not you.
Goo Goo Dolls did.
It's true.
What's it, Black Balloon or something?
Yeah. Black balloon makes you fly.
Yeah, dude. When you were working at Red Robin doing serving. I did it for 3 years at Quicker Second Lube in Sheffield.
Oh, yeah.
And I had to quit. Well, I ended up getting fired, and I'm glad. There was a moment on the Brickyard. It's the outside patio bar, or the smoking bar, and it was a Sunday, and I got sat like 5 tables at once, and each table had like 7+ bikers, and
I know this.
I needed
so
help,
much.
and it was just, I may have flaked out on work and was late a few times before that, whatever. But not that late, like 15 minutes. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's just the thing about it is I wasn't really great at serving because I didn't have a great memory, and I didn't have that thing that I think some servers have where they're just like, "What do you want there, honey?" And I'm just kind of like, "Hey there."
Some people thought I was really good, and when I did a good job, I did a great job. But the thing about it, I had to quit because. Well, I got fired, and I'm glad I got fired, but I probably would have quit anyway because it got to a point where I was prejudging people because I relied on tips so much.
Oh, yeah.
So I resented people that if I didn't get a tip, and I hated that feeling that I would get and like how I'd look at a table and be like, yup, this is what they're going to do. And I'd almost be right like most of the time.
Oh, yeah, you're like $3, $4. It sucks. We almost like you have this like rate of people. Like it's kind of the I never did that because I didn't really care how much I made. Like I was obviously very poor at that time, but like you just. But I just don't care about anything because I was just like, oh, okay, cool. I made $100 tonight, cool. And then somebody's like, I made $300. I'm like, oh, that sounds better.
That sounds better.
Yeah, so like I just kind of like you just kind of ride the wave and do whatever. But I mean, it's one of those things that sucks because I always kind of think like when I do my commissions and stuff, I'm like, I could have made this serving like one night real quick.
Yeah.
But I also get to do something that is more meaningful as far as art goes, and things like that, because it depends on. When I charge for, I always get when people are like, how much is that going to cost? I always get so much anxiety about how much I'm like charging them. Because first off, I know that they're doing it because they want something special. Because usually it's like hey, my dad passed away and we want to do this thing for him to kind of commemorate him. Could you do a piece of art that has my dad, but like all of our family and stuff? And I'm like, cool, that'll be, this much money. I feel bad being like, hey, that's a really sweet memory. You're going to pay for it. Like it's sad that I have to do that. But like at the same time, like you're taking away from things that I'm going to try to do creatively. And I kind of like I do this for a living. It's kind of a thing. So it's a bummer that I have to charge for it, but it also like, it just kind of has, and I hope that they understand that, but I constantly get in my head about it, like, especially if it's for like a little kid's birthday or something like that. And especially if they say they can't afford it. I'm just like, oh, well, we can work something out.
Oh, right.
I hope that doesn't give people carte blanche to be like, oh, my son is dying.
Yeah. I feel that's so much responsibility when you do things like that for people, or if it's a one-time thing that they need and they need you for it. Mm-hmm. I'm always willing to help, but at the same time, it's like, I wish you didn't ask me because I don't want to screw it up.
Yeah.
I'll do it, but that anxiety, I'm an anxious person. I'm so afraid I'm going to screw it up.
I don't know if I'm cocky or if I, whatever, but like I always have a sense, or I've just been doing this long enough. I know that eventually, like I always have this moment in the middle of when I'm doing a piece of art where I don't know I don't know what it's going to be. Like this one girl gave me a commission once where she was like, okay, she's like, so it's me and my husband, our little girl, and she's like, we went to BW. We came from Florida. We love tacos. She just rattling all this stuff, and I'm like, how am I gonna put that in a drawing and make that make sense? Like,
yeah.
And I literally was trying to figure out the puzzle for like ever, and it was like, it was even more stuff than that. There was like a ton of stuff, and I was like, how am I gonna do it? And my wife was like, she told me you don't need to put all that stuff in there. I was like, no. I'm going to figure this out, how to put all this stuff in there and now make it totally the most random thing in the world. And what I ended up figuring out was that I could put them on the ground. Like, so it was like an upshot. So think of like a drone, like hovering above them, and they're like laying on the ground kind of in a semicircle, their heads together. And then in chalk, I drew all those things around them, like as like little shapes and stuff. So like it made sense that all this weird stuff was like drawn on the ground around them, and it worked 100%. And I was just like, oh, there it was. You just like, I always have that eureka moment, like when I'm drawing, where I'm like, got it. Like, so it's really nice to kind of be able to like know that at some point, like it's like when you're playing a video game and you're in a puzzle level and you can't figure out where it is, and you know that like at some point you're gonna figure out all you need to do is hit the badger that's in the corner and he's gonna open up the door.
Yeah.
It's like that eventually at some point you're gonna realize that when you hit that badger it opens the door, but you have to just like sit in that room for a while. So, and that's just like how I draw, is just like eventually at some point I'm gonna figure out this puzzle of how I'm gonna get all this information that they gave me. Like, we love Star Wars, we love we have 4 people in our family, our daughter's a princess, and I drive a van. And you're like, got it. And then you're like, just try to figure out how to shove all that into a picture, and I know I'm gonna really dig it. So
yeah, there's this girl, Jackie Purdy. She's an artist, and I've never seen anything like it, like what she does. She paints weddings.
Oh yeah,
and
paints
she
at
actually
weddings or paints weddings?
Paints the reception.
Oh,
I'll show you an example. She actually did a mural, like a painting for LeBron James.
Ooh, look at her.
Where would I find? That's the album. I'm looking at what she's done.
I think it's a very specific skill to like be able to draw a crowd. I just drew like a lot of people in the same space. And it was very difficult to kind of get. I guess if you're kind of going off of like a space that's already existing. See, what I usually do is I try to give people's personality like in this full thing. And if you don't know them and you're kind of given like 16 photographs of them in like different situations, you're like, how do these people? And I usually never know them, so I have to like figure out how they interact with each other and stuff like that. And I don't really find a lot of joy in that because I get. Is this one of her paintings?
Yeah.
Oh, see, that's really
cool.
the
reception, and there's a lot of people. It's a impressionist art.
Yeah,
I guess.
So just keep it loose.
Keep it loose. You can't really tell their faces, but that person, like, say that person comes and sees the photo. Mm-hmm. She was wearing this blue thing.
Okay,
like, that's me. And
that's really cool. I mean, like, I think there's like the thing that's great about that is the focus is on them. Like.
Yeah,
like on top of everything. So like everything happening in the background doesn't really specifically have to draw, but the person who that's for, which is obviously the bride and groom, can really see that as like a piece they can take with them. I like that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So she'll set up, get where she has to go, and obviously before the whole party's there, she kind of gets the whole room set up.
Okay.
And like paints that.
Yeah, I was gonna say
she's there alone a long time before everybody else.
Okay, yeah, because there's a lot of detail in those walls and ceilings and stuff. That's really cool.
But it's really cool because then when you go up close to it, you're like, oh, it's kind of just like scribbly in a way. Yeah. But then you back out, you're like, wow, this is amazing.
I know. I envy people like that because I can never get that like. There's like a sense of see with those big strokes, there's like a sense of
Right.
like I know what I'm doing when I get like a big stroke. Like there's people who draw like real thick, gloppy art that I always like really dig because they do this thing where they're just like I was telling you about the highlight. Once you put that highlight in, you kind of it all explodes. Like just knowing like the cockiness of throwing that in there, like really. It baffles me that people were able to do that, and it's so cool. I wish I was able to kind of get into that vibe.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like it. Whoopsie daisy.
Oops, drop the thing.
But
It's cool because that's the cool thing about art that I've always loved, and I'll always will love is that like there's so much different stuff out there that everybody kind of has like a. Figure this out. Okay, that everybody has like a seat at the table. Like there's some art that I don't specifically dig that I don't think is very like just not my style or something I'm not into.
Right.
And that doesn't mean it's bad art. It just means it's different art. And that's what I love about like what I do is that like children's art specifically, like you've seen books that are just like super simple. They have like some like you're like maybe even stuff that you're like I could draw that,
Right.
but it works for that medium because you want kids to kind of have like an endpoint of like, oh, maybe I could be an artist, which is my favorite part about when I do the like in-person kids like drawing for them because I can show them how I do it in person. I mean, I show them how to create a story. I do this thing like like give me an animal, and they'll be like a polar bear, and I'll draw the polar bear, and then I'll be like, all right, what's he riding on? And they're like like a dirt bike, and I'm like, all right, I'll draw that.
Yeah,
and be like, all right, now what's he jumping over? And like, or I'll be like, hey, he's going through the woods, and all of a sudden he's about to trip, and he's gonna come up on and then I'll point to the audience, and they'll be like. Like a turtle, and I'll draw the turtle.
That's crazy.
And then I'll be like, all right, and he's about to fall, and then all of a sudden he remembers he has a pack, and he pulls the chute, and what's in his backpack that is gonna catch him on the way? And they're like, an anvil, whatever.
Yeah.
So like you kind of create this, like you create the problem,
Like improv.
create the solution. It's great because they love it. They love screaming. Think about kids. Kids love screaming because they're told to like be quiet like 90% of their day. Just like be quiet. Especially in middle school, they're not allowed to like go crazy. So like I try to like lead into these like moments of just being like, just scream as loud as you can. And I have a point where like you just tell me something you're passionate about, and I'll have them all say it at the same time. So there's just this wall of noise.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like. I actually did somebody give me an animal, just shouted out, and it was so loud I couldn't even hear. I thought I'd be able to pick one out of the crowd. I couldn't get an animal. I was like, I don't know what they're saying. It was just like. And I was like, all right, well, hold on. Actually, let's start over. One person give me an animal.
Man, the thing is, I love kids, but I'm just too. I haven't been around kids for so long.
Also, when they're not yours, it's really difficult. It's easier to deal with a crowd of kids than it is with like a couple kids, or individually. Depending on the kid, there's some kids that like really blow you away, or they're really fun to hang with. Like, well, let's totally play trains together, whatever. But as a a middle-aged man, it's weird to go up to other kids and do that.
Right.
But I'm given the opportunity because they're just like, oh, that's just silly man, crazy person who's drawing silly pictures. So I'm able to be like, oh, you want to draw this? And
Yeah, which is interesting. You said you're a middle-aged man. That's why I was kind of surprised you graduated in '99, 3 years older than I am. I thought I was older than you, or something.
you did?
Yeah, or maybe I thought you were just a year older than I was, or something.
It's because I act like a child.
Well, no, you don't look. I'm just saying, man. You're going to be one of those people that are going to hit their 60s and be like, yeah, it'll be like 60s new 30.
Yeah, I got that Rob Lowe gene.
Yeah, or like that. What's his name from Kiefer Sutherland? He just always has this handsome man look. And how old is he? He's probably 60.
Oh yeah, he is
or something.
He's really old than that.
55.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know, 60.
Gotta save the president.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's lucky, yeah, because I get that all the time. And people are like, "You don't look that old." I'm like, "Yeah, it's because I act like a child." And I don't know if it's because I laugh all the time and I just kind of like have like I don't have wrinkles because of that. The only wrinkles I have are the ones that I squint because I laugh all the time. And I like all these around my eyes.
Right.
Just like.
I want to quote you. I don't know if it's your quote, but I love this quote because I could talk about this quote alone for a while. And it's if you live life like you will die tomorrow, you will be tired and broke all the time. If you live it like you will die in a month, then you might have time for red wine with friends and skydiving. Which is so true.
Did I write that?
Yeah, well, that's on your Facebook thing. Just like a
that sounds like a
description.
thought I would have had. I don't remember writing it, but yeah, I didn't pull that from anywhere.
Well, I was like always living like I would die tomorrow. I was like, well, we could always just die. So what's the point of saving money? What's the point of this and that when you could just die?
Yeah.
Like my chances are, my luck, I'll get where I needed to go, and like right when I get there, boom, I get hit by a bus.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, but I mean, that doesn't ruin it. I just had that mentality for the longest time. I did.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a bad mentality to have. I mean, when you're younger, to have that, like, what if something happens to me? But I think there's a point where you kind of it's like, okay, if you put it in going on vacation. Let's say you go on vacation for one day. You have to shove everything you have into that one day. Like we went to Put in Bay. Okay, we went to Put in Bay for one day. We usually go. Sorry,
no, you're fine. Yeah,
we usually go to Put in Bay for one day, and then you go like, we gotta hit this bar, we gotta hit this bar, we gotta go over here, we gotta make sure we hit up the winery, do all that stuff. We went. You go for 2 days. You can hang out for a little bit. You can go to the swim up bar. You can maybe go to the winery the second day. You can have a cool breakfast. You can hang out. You can hang out. So like if you think about life in that way, it's like it's this long stage of like we have really 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 good friends to the point like two-set Brian and Caroline who come over our house, and we will just like kick it with them all night long. And to the sense where like they are like second family with us. Like they'll just come over. Like there's not even like a hey, can we let us stop over? They'll just stop over and be like, hey, we'll hang out in the pool. Like we have this little like $200 pool that we like have in our backyard, and we just like sit in it till like 3 a.m, just kick it for a while. It's like if you have those moments where you kind of like drag out, you're like, we're just having a good time. We're not like in an urgency to like do everything that we need to do. We've had like all these crazy conversations. We're having a great time. We just kind of like I've had such a cool life on accident. Like just like stumbling into people or people like inviting me to stuff that I'm really scared about.
The laws of attraction too, I believe in a sense. Like if you're a positive guy, you're going to attract positivity.
Yeah.
And I even go as far as almost believing it as like even when you're on the road.
Oh yeah.
And like you're at a 4-way stop, people actually obey the rules around you or something. It's like the laws of attraction. Yes, things are going good.
Yeah.
Because it seems like when you're in a bad mood, those weird moments happen where you're just everything's compiling onto each other and snowballing, and you're like, wow, I don't even know this person, and he screwed me just now after I dropped my peanut butter and jelly sandwich on the ground, and before that, my coffee, whatever.
You know what's so this happened to me recently. Something that kind of proved that theory is I was kind of burnt out. Like I was doing a lot of stuff for like other people, and I was feeling really burned out. Just kind of like I just want to sit here and not work on other people's stuff. I just want to play video games and do nothing. Like I'm kind of like I felt like done. Like I just wanted to like take a month off from like everything, and I felt really bad about it. Like it was like almost this like self-perpetuating like guilt of like I should be working on stuff. I have stuff to work on, but I don't feel like it. Whatever. And the moment and it was almost like nothing was coming my way, like based off of that. And then the moment I stopped feeling that way, I like snapped it and was just like, oh, this is like I'm doing the coolest thing. Like I'm drawing, I'm doing something fun. I shouldn't accept it. And then I even at work, I was just kind of like, I don't know, I'm just here. And then like the moment I changed that attitude and was just kind of like, for no reason whatsoever, I wasn't like, I should do this. I was just kind of like, I felt better, I was sleeping better or whatever. I started like I started just being like in a better mood. The moment that happened, I got a really good news. Like I can't share it at all right now. Sorry.
Yeah.
But it's really good news. Like the moment I changed my attitude, and it was almost the universe going like, "Hey, here's a shekel for you for turning it around, buddy." And I was like, "Thanks, universe. You're really doing good by me." Except it was almost like my guilt was just like oh, Dave's down in the dumps. He's not feeling it.
I guess you could say people would look at karma like that. I mean, like what goes around comes around, even with the good things. But yeah, I think that there's something to that though. That laws of attraction, like those. I think being a positive guy that you are, you're given these opportunities that other people couldn't get. Yeah. We were talking about that with like booking agents or like booking people, and I couldn't get these certain gigs. I've never been like in the past. I mean, anything that I don't get now, I really don't look. I know. If I don't look at life like I'm supposed to be owed anything anyway, so don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, like, I mean, things happen. Like I'm doing this and you came on the show, that's like an extra for me, you know, that helps me out, and that's good. And like people that want to come on and people that want to do stuff. And my life is great now, you know, with that mentality and being positive. But then again, being with Maggie, like I said, my sense of humor has gotten in the gutter. And man, there's some people online that they're not ready for that.
Yeah. Well, I think it's probably from your perspective too. You know, if you're feeling good about yourself, you don't like you almost put like your filters up, and you're like, you know, I don't really care that person doesn't like me. I don't really like that person anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like, or like, let's say your uncle's cousin's sister's brother's like, I don't really like that comment that you said on Facebook. It's like, I don't even know you. So it's like, who cares about what that person says? And then, you know, you see somebody who you really enjoy and they're like, I just love that dude so much. So it's, you know, like, it's just a matter of like where you're getting your information. I mean, for the most part, I don't have any situations where people like really don't like me that I know of. You know, I think it's just, maybe I just talk too much where people just don't have time to not like me.
Right.
Or don't tell me. But there's, I've always felt pretty comfortable everywhere I go. Which is funny because I grew up like super shy, super just like I had anxiety about like just being everywhere, and I was just like, oh, people like me.
Right.
Then you find out that's all just high school stuff that will eventually blow away, and for the most part, we're all just the same people. Especially when the biggest thing for me will always be when I had kids. Like I didn't want them at all. Like it wasn't my jam. I didn't really like other people's kids. Like I didn't like any of that. And then like, and my wife, obviously she came from a Catholic family. So everybody has like 3 kids minimum and stuff like that. So it's just like, I was like, yeah, okay, that's cool. And then, I mean, the moment I had them, I was just like, got it. Like everything clicked in for me. I was like, this is what I was supposed to be, you know?
Yeah.
And then I started doing children's art, and that was, you know, before that I drew like, you know, like I said, corn, all that stuff, you know, you draw that kind of like weird drawings of like clowns and weird stuff. And then the moment I had that, I kind of figured out what my art style was, and it worked so good for that. You know, it was perfect. Right. And then for that, not to be too cocky, sorry, but you know, like it just like it all dialed in for me.
Well, that's one thing I think a lot of people don't have is the confidence, like to begin a career, even you know, or start a business. It's like a confidence thing. What if it doesn't work out? It's like, what if it doesn't work out?
The thing is, like, nobody's paying attention to you as much as you.
Yeah.
Like, ever. You know, like, doesn't matter how many drawings I do. Like, I can do 30, and people are going to see, like, 2, maybe. You know, like, it's just the way.
Well, then again, a lot of times people look at you more than you would know, like, as far as respect in a respectful manner. Mm-hmm. A lot of people respect you more than you know. A lot if you have low self-esteem and confidence issue, your perception in yourself of being in a, you know, pessimistic perception of yourself that's you. Like, when I was in high school, I got nominated for best artist senior class and best musician, but I didn't get it. I was nominated though, so I was standing up there with them.
This is a nomination. It's so fun.
So I was blown away because I was so quiet. I was like, people thought I was a stoner kid that slept every day, you know. I didn't really have a lot of confidence, but I did things that a confident person would do. But I talked to people about this. Even this is like, I don't have confidence in this, really. Yeah. I mean, I do to a point, but I literally hate myself most of the time.
You know what's the worst part about like the way this media kind of works is that you almost have like a litmus scale for how well you're doing, because you can see how many followers you have and all this stuff. Yeah. And really, it doesn't matter because like some people maybe don't follow you, but they watch the show. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, because I didn't even think about following. I was watching the show, but I wasn't following you yet. And then, because I was just like, oh, I'll catch it. Because you always post them on Facebook. So, like, I'm just like, why would I follow? I can see every time you post it. Yeah. So, like, you know, people don't see that. So you're probably thinking, like, oh, I only have, you know, this many followers. And then you're like, or like, only this many people viewed it or whatever, like that. But so you have this like scale that you can just see, so you can just be like, this is how much people like me.
Yeah,
they like me 20 views or whatever, and it's just like, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, like, maybe there's
to booking agents it does.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and that's the thing. It sucks. It's like,
I don't know how many people can you bring. I only see 20 likes. On
I know. Yeah. Well, isn't it like there was talking about how they were booking for something like on a show or whatever. It was Kevin Smith. He was talking about he said he literally walked by a room and they're like, I don't know, this guy has more Instagram followers, so maybe we'll hire that guy. And I was just like, and he's like, is that what it's from? Like, why? It has nothing to do with talent. You know, it's just how good you are at social media. I mean, like right now, I have a book that's been in, you know, Target, and like it was on like an Amazon indie like best ofs book and stuff like that. But I still only have like 300 followers on Twitter, you know, and I constantly post stuff. So it's just like, you know, it doesn't matter. It doesn't make a difference. It's just there's so much noise out there.
Yeah.
There's like 3,000 other channels on YouTube. It doesn't mean that they don't like you. It just means means that maybe they don't watch YouTube shows. Maybe they're at work and that's when they would watch that stuff. And, maybe they don't have the time to get around to it. I mean, it doesn't mean that they don't like your show or like you. Maybe they haven't seen it because they're just like, well, I don't work at a job where I can sit and watch videos. And when I get home, my kids want to watch shows that I don't really want to watch, but I have to because they took the TV up. And, maybe I don't have the ability to listen to podcasts, or maybe I just don't like listening to people talk, but I really like Rob. He's a cool guy, So really it's just, but you, in your head, you can see the numbers. You can see the levels and where they're at and, how the graphs go. But at the end of the day, none of that really actually matters.
No. Like I'm not getting paid for this. This is not like anything. This is literally, I set this up because I love, what kid didn't try to make a radio station on their cassette player, or something like that. And it grew from just that little thing. And I think music kind of, in a weird way to say that, and I'm not going to be pessimistic because I do that. I'm a pessimist person sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I can't help it. Maybe if I didn't stick to music all the time, I would have found something else that I was probably better at, and I would have advanced into that category.
Yeah, I'm gonna butter your bread for a second. I told you before, like you had this one song. I can't remember the name of the song, which is a bummer, right? This very second. But I'm sure if I gave it enough thought, I would really dig it. But or I would remember. But there was a song that you did that I just dug. Like I played it like nonstop in my house, and I loved it so much. And then when you did a rap with I forget, you hit a guy on, you did a rap with him, and I was so impressed.
On the show?
Yeah, it was on the show. Was it with Hoffman?
Holland Huff.
Huff. I was just like, this is so cool. Like I thought, I was so impressed. It was so cool just to be able to do that. It sounded awesome. It was like it was a banger. I was just like, I really like this. And I think like people are more like pretty impressed by that stuff. I mean, I know I am. I think it's just really cool to be able to like. Because it felt like from scratch, like in a way where you just kind of were like, we wrote this.
We had it a long time ago. Like I think it might have been 2 years ago. We made it up in this garage and just kind of like.
I mean, it was so cool though. I mean, there's stuff that musicians do that I'm always kind of blown away by. Just the fact that like it just kind of works together. When it works, and I'm always so impressed by that. Like all the time. It's so fun just to like see people like kind of create stuff and make it, and just outside of my realm of understanding it all, because I the other day I was like my daughter like sat me down, she was like, let's write a song, and I was like, what does that even mean? Like, what do you mean write a song? So we sit there. She had a xylophone, and I had like one of those little clicky clacker things that like you see it like srirachas have, and then like one of those like cymbal beater things. And we were just like, and you just like made it. It was about boogers or something stupid, but just something to entertain her. But that's. I mean, even that was like super difficult. Like, I was like, this that. But she didn't care. but I don't know. It's impressive.
Oh man, there's another man by the name of Spencer who's also a very big inspiration to the world.
Yeah.
His name is Spencer Allen. Spencer Allen Boston.
Yeah.
Controversy when he lit a joint in court as he appeared before a judge.
And 20 years
This guy lights a joint in the middle of court in front of the judge.
Oh man.
And then he says on the way out, he says
Allen Boston appeared in court in Wilson County, Tennessee to answer to a marijuana possession charge.
Dude, he's on a
but
mission.
According to law enforcement,
he knows what he's going to do.
Oh yeah, apologize. Instead, it seemed he was trying to make a point about the drug being legalized.
I think he knew what he was doing before he came to court yesterday morning, and you can tell by the video with him walking up to the podium and the things that he was going to say, and then him reaching.
You can just tell by his long hair.
Oh yeah, I love it.
As court officers placed him under arrest, authorities say he turned to the observers to claim they, quote, deserve better.
They deserve better.
They deserve better. Oh man, that guy.
We the people deserve better, baby.
A pair of pixelated sunglasses should have appeared from the sky and landed on his front. Thug life.
Yes.
That guy's a hero. Oh
yeah, not all heroes wear capes.
I wish I had that kind of like swagger to like run into a place and be like, I'm just going to do this no matter what. I mean, obviously there's like a level of like that probably ruined that guy's life, but well,
it might have helped it. He only got 10 days in jail.
Oh, there you go.
So when he gets out, he's going to have all the support from the High Times.
Oh,
whatever,
yeah. He's going to be like the new liaison for High Times. He's going to go around everywhere. Yeah, that's one of those things that probably will turn him into like the whole, like he'll go to the path that, because right now he's probably like doing something that he doesn't really
Tommy
like.
Chong spent, I don't know, a long time in jail.
Yeah, he did. And he's like a career off being the guy who like, smoked.
not weed, for bongs in a state that don't allow bongs.
Oh yeah,
like
it's
sales of
so
bongs.
funny because I'll see him in like what is it, like children's programming, and he's still that guy.
Yeah, he's
like,
that guy.
And they always like throw in a joke like for him, like
Yeah.
that's like specific to weed, but like little kids don't get it, so they're just like, yeah, man. Like I can't even think. I literally saw one like a couple weeks ago where it was like Tommy Chong, and I was like, oh, Tommy Chong.
Dude, Disney's been doing that. Like there's always one stoner guy
I know.
in every movie.
So good. It's just so funny that like Tommy Chong, just like back in the day, you watch those old Up in Smoke movies and stuff like that, and he's just like, I mean, he's just blazed out of his mind the whole time, and then just seeing him go from that to like being the voice of a turtle,
Yeah.
like on a children's show.
Yeah,
Oh man, I
hey,
love it.
man. I mean, like this is what we gotta do, man.
It's such a good voice for like the guy who's just like the loser of the group, or like the like, it's cool, man, don't worry about it, and you're like, oh, Tommy Chong gets it. And he's still that guy. He still gets arrested for weird stuff, like, you know, just like Willie Nelson, you know, just like having mounds of
man.
weed.
Willie Nelson, he writes so much music I didn't know about. Prince did this when he died. I was like, oh, he did that song. Oh, he did that song. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's insane. Like
There's so many songs that Willie Nelson didn't perform. He just wrote.
yeah,
And
I know.
I'm like, damn.
Those always blow me away when you hear like people just they've done like a full career. Like who was it? Toto. Toto, like there was a video I watched of Toto where they talked about like all the things they've done that are in the background. They're
Yeah.
like they've been the
Studio
studio
musicians,
band
yeah.
for like ever, and they're like, nobody respects us. Like we've done like Thriller, no one cares.
Yeah,
You know?
it was that Toto? Yeah, it was-
not Toto, but they didn't. I don't think they did Thriller. They did one of Michael Jackson's albums.
Yeah.
but then they did. You know, I guess it's not good now, but back in the
Maybe
day,
it
it was
is.
pretty cool. But
Yeah.
not anymore. But you know, like one of like they've been like the studio man for
It
like
is
all these-
Toto, the band for Toto. I'm pretty sure it was either them or Styx or something. I have no
Oh,
idea.
I think I'm mixing up. What is it? The guy from Slayer did "Beat It"
Or something.
Well,
One of the guys
guitarist from
yeah.
Slayer did, because he was like they were.
The band that did Jump, Van Halen. Van Halen did the solo because that guy did the solo. I think the guitar player for Toto actually did the solo, and then Van Halen came in and went over that one part only.
Beat It?
For Beat It.
Are you sure that wasn't the guy from Slayer?
No, Van Halen for sure, 100%. I'll look it up.
Listen, I would. You probably know more than me, but my friend, I feel like, told me a story where they were on a break and he went in and was like, it's just gonna be a quick thing. It's nothing for this guy. I don't even know who he is, and then it became Beat It.
Eddie Van Halen.
Oh, all right. I was totally wrong.
No, but yeah, I remember him talking about his record label didn't want him to do it, so he did it anyway and snuck it. And
That's
why it's like you almost have to talk to the people involved to know for sure if he did it.
Yeah.
because it's not documented as like a credit. You know what I mean? Because he
yeah.
like snuck in and did it. And he's like, yeah, you know, this young guy that's in pop music wants me to play this thing, and I'm gonna do it anyway.
I know the record industry is so weird for stuff like that.
Oh, it's been shady. I'm glad it's still shady, but it was shadier back when it first started.
Oh, yeah.
Because they were capitalizing off these like bayou musicians that
Poor,
were banging,
super
making
poor.
bangers, but they're poor, and they're like, oh, we're just gonna use your voice, and then they
Yeah.
can their music,
Yeah.
and then they own it,
Yeah.
and then they can't. Dude, fucking Sly Stone just now got his credentials. He just got paid like royalties.
Happy Birthday, up until about 2 years ago, was owned by Warner Brothers.
Yeah,
That's why when you go to restaurants,
It's
when
like,
they go,
da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
the reason why that is because they don't have the rights to do
Yeah,
that, which
it's
is
copywritten.
the dumbest thing in the world.
Yeah, it's dumb.
And there was actually a documentary they did about the birthday song, and the people, while they were doing that, because they were like, oh, it's an interesting story, and while they did the research on it, they're like, wait a minute, you guys don't own this song. So they literally, like, because they made the documentary, made like a movement to be like, you guys don't own this, because they were making like $3 million or something a year just based off of like them suing people for using
Wow.
Happy Birthday song, and or getting like rights to it and stuff like
Right.
that. I'm like, it's so dumb. It's like, because it was written by these like two ladies who weren't affiliated, but then they like found out a way where they were like, oh no, they wrote it for us. I don't know. It's so
But
weird.
it's a different name every time you sing it.
I know. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. I just saw a thing today about Mace talking out about Puff Daddy from back in the day because he was just like, he's like, he had to make sure he was in a place financially where he could actually speak out about it because he didn't want people to think that like he was doing it because he needed money. And he was like, but I'm financially fine. He's like, but they didn't pay me anything. You know, like he's like, Puff Daddy's like wrecked all these people's like lives they don't have any money. Like they did all these like tunes for him, and he's making money for himself, but not giving it to the people. But that he basically brought up or whatever. But I don't know.
It's interesting how many like consumers in the world that just have regular jobs and just look up to celebrities and they think they're getting paid for everything that they're doing. Yep. A lot of times people if you look for a paycheck and everything, you're not gonna. It's as far as an entertainer, you're good luck. I mean, unless you have already created like your presence alone is needed to make this happen.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of money. Like I don't think Tonight Show they pay for maybe you to get there.
Yeah, yeah,
and it's more for the guest to be on that show. Yeah. That's an honor to be on that show.
You're doing promotion to the thing. That was the thing I learned about the publishing industry is that you basically like you want to get the reason why you see like the product, which would be the album or the book or whatever, it's there. But then the reason why you see like a movie deal or like swag like outside of that, like T-shirts, hats, whatever, is because that's where like the money is really made is like in the outside merchandising, and that's where you'll actually like make because like you get the initial cost and stuff for like doing the job, and you're like that's great and it's such a cool opportunity. But then like you really want to have these extra things that kind of give you more. And it sucks because you're like you feel like you're selling out or you're like doing a thing, but really you're just like you're trying to perpetuate yourself to the next project. Yeah. You're like I want to do this.
But who doesn't want to sell out a stadium or something?
I know, yeah, and it's just like you can have that indie mentality. You're like, well, I want to be like 3 guys in the crowd who really love me. And it's like, and you should have those people. You should have like just a few diehards,
cult following,
and they're like ready for you, and you should absolutely have that.
Follow your tour bus people.
Yeah, exactly. Those people who are waiting outside, and and I've also heard like terrible things about that. Where you're just like, I just need some privacy, like whatever. But I mean. You constantly
I'm eating and feeding my daughter to not come speak to me. I don't know you and no, I don't owe you a motherfucking thing.
Oh man, the new Eminem is so good.
Oh yeah, I heard Ed Sheeran's collab with him. I'm like, dude, immediately texted like the group text with the DJs that I work with. I'm like, got that song? Now you need to get it now. It was like right when Spotify released it. I'm like, oh yeah, Ed Sheeran and Eminem, get it.
Yeah.
Get it on the hard drive now.
Have you heard that one with it's 50 Cent, Eminem, Ed Sheeran, and somebody else? I forget who.
I don't know. I listened to like the first 4 songs or something.
Oh, it's not from that album. Sorry. Oh, okay. It's like I don't even know what it's from, but it's basically like I'm Not Done Yet is like the theme of the song, and it's like it ain't my time to go today, hey hey, and it starts with Ed Sheeran, which is just so funny. I don't know. He's just like every time I hear him talk, he just seems like a guy I would totally hang out with.
Which is cool because I heard he was influenced. He had a stutter, and to break it, he rapped along with Eminem.
That's so. Is Eminem records. Okay, so they've worked together like a couple times. Like that song that I was just telling you about in his album, and then the last song, "The River," he wrote it, and then he was just like, he's like, I don't feel like this is my song, and he ended up selling it to M, like I know him. You don't meet him.
And I call him M.
We're cool like that. I call him M. He calls me D. But yeah, see. Basically, they've just done so much stuff together. I wonder if they were like just like super tight, just like this random like ginger like Irish dude.
Hold up, Eminem. Is that because his name is Marshall Mathers? M and M.
I think so. Never noticed that either.
It could be.
You just cracked the case on Eminem.
And M is taken, so you have to go M and M.
Absolutely is that.
It has to be, right?
Absolutely. It's 100% that. And I never, ever thought of that.
Me neither. I never thought of it. Jeez.
That's so funny. And
because when you're in the hood, they come up with the best names for people, and like that's why when you watch 48 Hours, you can never find the dude because his name is like Casper, man. Casper did it. And it's like Eminem. Yeah, Little Squeak. They have the best names, man. I grew up in the hood, and I moved out before I got the cool names. I moved out before my friends like were able to come up and be witty.
Yeah, like what's up, web shooters?
Hey, what's up, Worldwide?
Oh, your name would be Swift, man, like Spider-Man.
Man, I need a cool hood name, man.
I remember they called me Diz for a long time, so like that was my nickname. But it was almost like given to me. I forget how it happened. This girl used to call me Dizave all the time.
Dizave.
She'd be like, "What's up, Dizave?" And then she eventually like shortened it to Diz, and that became my name. Like, but it was only like in that moment. It was never like outside of like us talking. And then I went to my server job at Red Robin, and the girl was like, "Hey, what, like we need to put a name tag on it. What should you put on it?" And I was like, "Could you put Diz on there?" So like my name serving, it was almost my stripper name. It was my serving name was Diz for like ever. So anytime, but I don't use it like obviously outside of that. So like every time I hear somebody go like Diz, I'll be like this flashback of serving of like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" It's like, I wonder if like strippers have that. It's like, "What's up, cinnamon?" It's like, oh, nice. Yeah. So I don't know. It's funny just hearing that. But yeah, I basically like kind of like squeezed in my own nickname. Right. Total douche move.
I was Robbie D. And Robbie D, short for Robbie Diesel. I don't know why. I think I'm just a crowdy person and I like stomp in rooms and I'm like, "Hey guys, what's going on?" Knock shit off the shelf. Whoa. Yeah. I'm a bull in a china shop, pretty much. That's and so I'm just not quiet. I eat loud. Well, I pull it back, but I'm just saying when I'm loose and having a good time, I'm like arms flail around. And
I'm usually like, my wife always is like, "I knew exactly where you were in the other room."
Yeah.
She's like, like I'll laugh like louder and I just like talk. It's just like the way my voice carries like into other places and stuff. So I kind of infect the whole area. And then it's always funny. We because my wife's family, they're the best. Like they're super fun to hang out with, and but I get really loose. I'm so comfortable with them. I just get really loose, and like I just talk about like the worst stuff. And they're not, like they're not a button-up family. I wouldn't even say that at all. They're just, they're just kind of like, "Oh, hey," they're really really nice, and
if you do say something inappropriate, it's like, it happens like that,
Yeah. But we've had like the best time. I mean, like we've had like, when it was those nights where like there's like enough wine and there's enough conversation. It's just like those great nights where everybody's just hanging out. And it's like all generations. There's like her grandma and grandpa who are like, no joke, the best people in the entire universe. And I've said this multiple times, but I sincerely enjoy them like more than most people in this entire world. Like you'll talk to her grandpa, and he's just like lived in New York, and he was in the military, and he'll give you like sometimes you talk to older people, and you're like, "Oh, I can't wait for this to be over," right. Just because like they'll be like, "Hey, how are you doing?" And you're like, "Oh," and you're like, "Cool, man." But like literally, I would sit with this guy for like hours. He's the best, and her grandma's just really like, "Oh, hey, how is everything going?" Like she'll ask me about my mom and stuff like that because she knows her back in the day and stuff like that. But where was I getting with this? I can't remember. Oh, they're really good people, is what I'm saying. But my wife was like, "I can't trust you alone when you get into this mode," because I would literally just talk about anything.
And if there's wine involved or something,
Because I literally, people like heart on her sleeve. It's like I wear it on my wrist. I'm just kind of.
Oh, I said a joke to my grandfather. He's passed away, but he wasn't in Vietnam, so I just felt like I could say this joke, and it was. I was young and I wouldn't say it now. I mean, I say things online and I'm just, I don't care. It's just words typing. I'm not even actually saying it. My fingers are.
Yeah, my fingers are saying it.
Yeah. And I don't even know. They're like idle hands devils. They're like, what is that fucking movie, Idle Hands?
Idle Hands, yeah. Here, fun fact about Idle Hands. The one friend is like fat version of me. Fun fact.
Yeah. Dude, you know what? People actually, when I was younger, people said I looked like Fulton Reeves from Mighty Ducks. Yeah, that when I used to have the curly hair, and I would put it back. When he had the bandana on, his hair poofed out. Yeah, and people said I looked like this guy, and people would be like, "You look just like it." I had like people all the time would say that all the time. God,
it's so funny.
And then there's like certain people that are like, "Are you related to this so and so?" And I'm like, "No."
Of course I'm not.
But
there's only so many shapes of faces.
The joke was like, how many Vietnam vets does it take to screw in a light bulb?
Oh no!
Oh, you don't know? That's right, you don't know because you weren't there. You didn't see what I
saw! That's a great joke because you can just scream at the end.
Yeah.
It's so good. Oh my gosh.
My grandfather did not get it.
You didn't appreciate it?
Did not appreciate it.
Some people just don't get the gold.
He was born right before Prohibition ended.
Oh no.
So I think he was too old for Vietnam.
Yeah. Do you remember when you were younger and you just assumed that like everybody went to Woodstock? Like when you were just like,
everybody was there.
Your parents, everybody who's older than you, like went to Woodstock. You're like, oh yeah, how was it at Woodstock? They're like, I definitely was not even born yet. You're like, no, you're old enough. And they're like, no, I'm not.
Here's something funny. We could end this soon because it's going to be a long episode otherwise. No, but I love it. We're talking to you. People are going to love it, and I know you know a lot of the same people. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. If you're still watching right now, you rock. You're the troopers, guys.
Yeah. If you're still here, type in taco in the comment section.
yeah. If you're still here, that's a good idea. I never think about those weird things like I could get the true fans to do.
The true believers.
Yeah, if you're still listening to it, write taco in the comment, and nobody will know why.
Yeah, they'll be like, why did I say taco 5 times?
Yeah, you didn't watch the whole episode.
Look
Obviously,
at you. I guess I knew my
everybody.
friends are.
Everybody commenting like, why about the tacos?
Yeah, what's up with the tacos? Are they talking about? What are they talking about?
Single those guys out.
Yeah.
But I want to show you this. Talking about Woodstock. I was watching it earlier today, and it was.
Are you doing that in mouth? That's awesome. I was so impressed by this stuff.
There was a guy that. Oh man, dude, memories. There was a guy on my school bus. The trailer park school bus, and it picked up all the kids from the trailer park.
Oh yeah,
from 12th grade to 6th grade.
Oh, this is the best.
It's the best. Smokers and non-smokers. Yeah. There was some. Who knows? There was some sixth grade like Joe, like those.
Yeah.
Hey, what the fuck? Hey, go fuck your mother. They're like sixth graders.
Yeah, the guy with like the shit kicker hat on.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, who's this kid? He's got the suspenders. He's from like the Depression.
Yeah. Oh my God! Yeah, my water heater's been working all winter long. Go fuck your mother. You don't know what it's like.
Yeah, you don't know what I've been through.
I don't know my dad.
Oh man!
But here we go. Oh, I don't. Okay, Biscuit. I just want to show this beginning part because they.
I love that you're typing in right now. We literally watched this entire set like recently because we got into like watching old Woodstock film, and we were just like watching 9 Inch Nails and like all this like cool Green Day, like when they tore it down back in the day. Oh, it's so much fun.
All right, they're right now in this video.
Yeah. Fun fact, I was there.
Oh, you were, of course, you graduated in 99.
Yeah, man.
You were 18.
If we're looking at a wide shot here, I'm in that shot.
Are you fucking serious? You lucky fucking son of a bitch.
Yeah,
you got to see so much good
shit.
Dude,
I swear to God, I saw so many cool artists that like I was just like, I'd never seen before. You know what? You wouldn't really like think to pay to see and stuff like that. And I was just like, you'd see like all these people be like, I had no idea. I saw the Roots.
All my hippie friends are gonna be like, dude, you're listening to Limp Bizkit and reminiscing. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Oh man, I remember. Okay, so I'll never forget this memory. So they played Nookie. Okay, so like literally they were playing something before they were playing this song. And then the next song they play, I think, is Nookie. And this guy turns around to me and he goes, "This shit's about to get real."
Yeah.
Because it was right when that song dropped. Everybody was like loving that song.
Oh. Well, I was wanting to.
Like a motherfucker.
Right now, the mic cut out.
Yeah. I forgot he had mic issues at the beginning. There was like a sea of people. I didn't even remember that happening. He's playing Cambodia. I didn't even remember that. I remember that being the song that. Oh wait, no, that's the end of that song. I forget.
Well, I'm trying to think of that. I wanted to show. Where the fuck is it? I thought that was a.
See, Limp Bizkit's one of those artists that like.
Here it is.
I know we're all supposed to make fun of them as like a group because we're like they don't make music, but like they're so nostalgic for me. They like live in my heart forever. It's such like a part of my life that we were just like, oh, it was so much fun.
Oh, I loved it, man.
Well, you could play that album like Significant Other at any party, and somebody was gonna like it. You know, like there was like metal and rap, and it was like this nice time where everybody was kind of like, fuck yeah, we're listening to Limp Bizkit. Yeah. And then at some point, people got all up in their ass, and they were like, we don't like that anymore. And I was like, that's cool, whatever. I don't know.
I was when $3 Bill came out, I was 12, 13, 14 years old. So like, dude, it was the coolest. Dude, I remember breaking a pair of headphones because when stuck on yourself you are. I banged my head and my headphones flew off my head and went landed on the ground and broke my headphone.
Oh man, I remember. So Limp Bizkit was my gateway drug to Deftones because I went to go see them live and at the Odeon, and they opened for Deftones, and then that was the first time I saw the Deftones or heard them at all, and I was just like, who is this? And they're like, this is the Deftones. I was like, this is the best thing I've ever heard.
Right? Like this whole time, he has nobody can ever hear him.
I guess you can't hear me.
Yeah,
nobody can hear him. He's like, put your hands up if you can hear me.
Yeah.
And then he starts saying a bunch of shit. And it's like all this stuff nobody ever heard. And then it's like, all right, here's Nookie. And then everybody finally hears him.
Oh, and the place goes ballistic.
Look at that.
Yeah, well, that's probably why I didn't hear it, because like we can hear it here, because it's probably the local mic, and then the outdoor mic is like. Oh god, this was so much fun. I remember we sat and there was this place. One of the water things broke, so they had these like troughs, basically, like big round troughs, and one of them broke and filled with water, so it became like a hot tub. Because it's in the middle of the desert. Heat sitting down in it. Me and this guy jumped in it.
Where was it? I thought it was in New York.
It was in New York.
But it's like a deserted land.
So, by desert, I mean it was really hot out.
Yeah,
you're in the middle of an airstrip in the middle of the summer.
Yeah.
It was just so hot.
For sure.
And
basically.
So like we were just kicking it in this thing for like ever. People were jumping in. Eventually we had like 10 deep in this like essential made up hot tub. It was so much fun. Oh man. And then we like ran through the mud and like slammed out, and then we jumped back in the water tub, or the water broke. Water fountain.
He's like, don't play that shit, Wes. That mic's not working yet.
Hey.
The sound guy's
he's
tripping.
His brick. That guy right there, he's just like, we're so fucking sorry. Yeah, I remember.
But if he knows anything about the original Woodstock, this is normal.
Yeah, they're like, we're having problems. They're like, yeah, of course you are.
Did you watch that documentary on Netflix? That recent documentary about Woodstock?
No.
And it covers the backstage stuff. Doesn't cover the bands.
I love that stuff.
I know, and there's so many people that were involved that had the best camera at the time, and it's legit HD stuff. Dude.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and it looks like it was done yesterday, and it looks like since nowadays, people's style is like whatever.
Yeah.
I see these people anywhere, but the interesting thing about back then is everybody was skinny. Yeah, but that's how you could tell if it's from the '60s on a high def camera.
Yeah, that was before
the millimeter, whatever the thing, the big thick rolls of film that
the
they
8mm jams. Yeah, actually, I know we were just talking about Grateful Dead recently, but so I didn't like Grateful Dead until we watched this documentary that's on, I think, Amazon. It's called Long Strange Trip, and it got me into Grateful Dead because the whole soundtrack was just them jamming like over top of whatever, but then just like hearing all the cool stories and like how they basically went from this like underground band to like the band that everybody just basically went and partied in the parking lot, and nobody really even went into the show. Like they basically just went to party.
Wow. And
then like trying to circumvent that was like, if you don't have a ticket, you're not allowed to party. Like kind of like them trying to like get ahead of it. But then like they had this wall. They had a thing called the Wall of Sound, and it was like speakers on top of speakers on top of speakers on top of speakers.
Yeah.
And then talking to the roadies who had to break that shit down every day or every night, and then put it back together the next day in a different town, and then just being like, we had to break this thing down. And
that's the Dead, right? The Grateful Dead.
Yeah. The Grateful Dead.
Is that the Shakedown Street thing where that came from? Because when I went and seen them play in Chicago, there was a lot of people that didn't have tickets that were just set up out front with like.
Oh, probably
with like markets and like food vending things.
I'm sure it's more now, but like,
it was like a festival. It turned
I mean,
into.
but like then that wasn't a thing. It became a thing because of that,
Yeah.
and it was because of was it the one they only had one hit, which was what is it, Touch of Grey? Touch of Grey. And when Touch of Grey came out, though, like. It became like this Bro Nation came out. It was like, I like the song on the radio, but they've been around for like years and stuff like that.
Right.
So I don't know. It's just this fun little.
It's like What I Got by Sublime.
Yeah, and it was like they've been doing stuff for years.
Yeah, or when Aerosmith did something with Run DMC finally.
Oh yeah. Then you just get a totally
whole different new crowd, new people. Like what the fuck?
It's gotta be.
What the fuck is this joint all about?
Yeah.
Damn. Damn, that dude could sing. No, but yeah, man, dude, watch that. I don't even know if it's still on Netflix, but it's amazing.
Yeah.
And I really don't know if that can ever happen again. I mean, I could hope,
No.
we could all hope and pray.
It'll be different for sure. It's just like, there's so much stuff that like has to be.
It was a moment in time.
Yeah.
It was the things that happened. Even the U.S. military helped out, and they shipped down. They brought nurses with them too,
Yeah.
and nurses work for free. There was people working out, and I'm like, damn, dude, that is hard to find. Like
Yeah.
a collective group of that many people that are willing to be like, all right, let's get this show on the road. The guys that set it up. There was a moment where they're like, "We're not getting paid. We have to pay the bands. That's it."
Yeah. I think there's like a lightning in a bottle situation for even if you go small. Like if you plan a party, let's say you do like a theme party, and it's like I don't know, Roaring Twenties or something. So you do a Roaring Twenties party, and it goes crazy. Like it's the best party you've ever had, and you just have such a blast. And you try to do it again the next year. And you're trying to capture whatever that was the next year, and people don't show up, or like the person who made that party fun doesn't come, or or you don't have the right conversations. It's just kind of like it kind of limps along. You have a good time, but like it's not the best. It's like or even like sequels to a movie that was just like The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight, awesome movie, great villain, everything, such a good movie. Third one. Not good.
Yeah.
Like I liked it enough, but I was just like, whatever. And it just didn't have that moment. It's just like you need these little things to happen, and they're not going to happen again unless you have that like perfect situation. And I don't expect it.
Yeah.
I mean,
and it grew. It was evolved even since the show started. And I think it started like on a Friday or Thursday or whatever. I think a Friday or Saturday. I know it ended on Monday. It was interesting because a lot of people left before Hendrix went on. So
which is
like,
insane to think about. His like legendary.
A lot of people are like, I got to go back to work.
I know.
And then he's on a Monday morning or something, or a Sunday night, or Sunday morning. I don't even know. It's some arbitrary time of like only the people that are wrecked that have no lives or they have no like other things to go to. They're just like, hey man,
they miss like the god of guitar.
Yeah.
I remember listening to a podcast with the guy from ZZ Tops, and that guy like knows like everybody. And you hear he's got the best stories, and he's got the coolest voice too. He's just like, "Hello, how are you doing?" And he's like super cool. You can like almost hear the sunglasses on his face.
You could hear him.
And he was talking about like
you could hear his dentures.
Oh, he was talking about how he went to I forget what this blues guitarist. I'm terrible at this, so let's just say Muddy Waters. I don't know. He went to his like childhood home and broke a piece of board off and made a guitar out of it. Like I'm just that's the coolest ever. Like he's like, yeah, I got this guitar. It's made out of the Muddy Waters old childhood home, and I'm like, that's so cool. And he was just talking pretty cool. Yeah, he's talking about hanging out with Rick Rubin and all these people.
That's like the same type of people that really get into ghosts. They look at the energy of the house and the thing. It's like that's like that type of shit. Like they're like, I'm gonna be able to play as good as him.
Oh
now.
Yeah, I know. And sometimes it works. I mean,
you never know. I don't know, man. It's worth a shot, man. Yeah, whatever. People do healing stones. People do all that. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it just comes down to how much you believe in it, and if that's
all that matters.
If that's what limps along,
boom, that's the confidence boost you needed.
It's the placebo that gets you to
placebo exactly
to the next step. So that's how I live my life.
That works, right? All right, dude. We could wrap it up right now.
I know, man. We could probably have like 5 more hours of podcast if we wanted to.
It's going to probably be the longest one.
Oh, I apologize for that. Don't care.
Don't care. Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, they can turn off at any time.
Asking for a friend.
Yeah, one more time. Type in taco in the comment section.
Yeah, type in taco. If you are still listening, type in taco in the comment section.
Yeah.
To let us know who you are. Interesting thing is, I got better. My upload speed is the best you can get in the area.
Ooh, look at you.
Well, I'm talking about like a lot of people probably have it. That's the only provider we have is Spectrum. But it's the best in our area still.
Yeah. I got the best.
I got the best that our area is able to give.
I love it.
Until, like, dude, this area in Vermilion is really strange. I think they keep, like, they want to preserve, like, this historic value, and they don't want people putting any things in it. And they have, so I want to get fiber optics up in this biatch.
Oh, look at you.
But they don't have it. We don't have it. Vermilion doesn't supply it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they got to do digging and stuff. And,
it's like
stringing lines around everywhere.
Oh, yeah. It's a whole
And I
thing.
heard the fiber optic is actually kind of dangerous.
Really?
Like, imagine if you, I heard if you, stab, cut into a line, the fibers explode and you could breathe them in, or it could get into your skin and just, screw you up.
I did not know that.
It's kind of weird.
I know that our IT guy talked about fiber optics a lot, and I just did a whole lot of nodding, yeah, we should get those. Those sound important.
Well, I heard. I just heard like you can't cut a hard wire like a main line of fiber optic line because it's the
just
fibers like good in the air and stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. Whatever.
All right, man. Well.
But yeah, that's it. That's our time.
Yeah,
Dude,
if you're ever feeling like it, man, we can do it. We can do a round 2. I don't care.
absolutely. I'm gonna go. There's gonna be a round 2 before the end of the year. There's gonna be definitely a round 2.
Okay.
I'll ask you about it.
Just do a round table. That'd be fun. Just like a bunch of fucking weirdos in a
Yeah,
room.
yeah. The best of all together, like a rat pack of.
Oh man, that'd be ridiculous.
Oh man, it'd be a lot of the times though. It's a very you got to share.
Yeah.
With those moments.
Oh, yeah.
It's easy to share with 2 people.
Oh yeah.
But with on so many moments, there might be. It's like, man,
just-
I didn't really talk that much.
yeah, constant level of people cutting each other off and just
Yeah.
like, I wish I told my story.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't really draw a lot. I kind of got it like into the conversation.
No, that's cool.
But this is huggy and stick. If you want.
Yeah, I'll show. I'm gonna take a picture of it before you die. I think that camera fell in the middle of it, so
Oh,
it's
it
like.
did.
So I don't think I'm gonna use it.
Okay, sorry. It's okay. I didn't draw a lot. Just know that I drew the best drawing I've ever drawn.
Yeah, ever. This is all he can do, guys.
You should see it.
No, while we're talking, I'll try
It's
to plug
okay.
in little pictures of things that you've done with the
Okay.
Huggy
Yeah.
and Stick and with the bedtime. Charlie Goes to Bed.
Right on, man.
But yeah, check out David Spencer.
Yeah. Oh, if you want to contact me, but in any way, my website is Mischief Factory. Yeah, this is the very end, so whatever. But Mischief Factory is for everything. You can find me in any other thing, but Mischief Factory on Twitter, and then Facebook. You can go to my Facebook page, David Spencer on Facebook too. Instagram. I think I'm the Mischief Factory. So follow me on all that stuff, and you'll see either weird pictures I drew about robots or silly stuff. I'm trying to do more video lately, but I haven't done any. But it's an idea.
Well,
I have.
at the beginning of this thing, you mentioned Mr. Factory. I'll just put like a little thing in front of the camera that
Right on.
goes to MrFactory.com.
Cool.
But yeah, that's our time, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys for tuning in. Yeah, I'm getting better. I'm getting
love
better.
it.
One
I
of
love
these
it.
days, I'll be like fucking Howard Stern. He has the best voice.
Hey, man,
all right,
yes,
all right. Now, David Spencer, I want you to take off your shirt and show us those nipples, man.
Fuck you.
Fuck you, Howard. We have a Sibian. I want you to sit on the Sibian, please.
Eat this hot pepper.
Eat this hot pepper while sitting on the Sibian. Are you a squirter? Dude, he's so fucking vulgar.
Oh, I love it.
I love
It's
it.
the good stuff.
It is the good stuff. All right, dude. To play us out, there's an original for you, man. I hope you enjoy it. It's called "Get Wet." It's with a coworker of mine.
This is the song. This is the song that I love. I love Get Wet.
No, but I've been
Peace. We out of here. Peace.
in this place. We got some soul.